All right, welcome. It is December 9th, 2024. It is 7:01 p.m. and I'd like to call the meeting of the Boxborough Select Board to order. As is our custom, we're going to begin the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance.
Did you want a roll call?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is Wes, are you?
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, he's not here, so there's no roll call because he's not here. But thanks, Priya. All righty. If we all face the flag, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. All right, so the first order of business is public input. Does anybody have anything they wish to share? If you could just introduce yourselves, and thanks for coming tonight.
This is good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay. Great. I'm Abby Reap, 205 Old Harvard Road.
Andrew Gruske, 11 Daniels Way, Foxborough.
Okay. I'm the chair of the Boxborough Democratic Town Committee and a member of Indivisible Act and Steering Committee. Andrew is the treasurer of Boxborough DTC. During a recent DTC meeting, Andrew asked about what it would take for Boxborough to become a sanctuary town, and should we try to make that happen. I remembered that this had come up at town meeting in 2017. The select board placed a non-binding sense of the meeting article on the warrant that stated that Boxborough is a rural engaged community for all and constitutional community committed to preserving the protections afforded by the Bill of Rights. The article did pass, but it was non-binding. Knowing that the ATM warrant was closing today and that town meeting will have many important and possibly divisive issues to debate, I felt that a better course of action would be to focus on what we could do to protect Massachusetts residents, not just those in Boxborough. Earlier today, I sent an email on behalf of a few people, Andrew included, to the select board and requesting that you send an email to Governor Healy and legislative leaders asking them to work proactively this month to protect Massachusetts residents from Trump's dangerous agenda by passing the Safe Communities Act, which is sponsored by Senator Eldridge. This letter campaign was developed by Indivisible Mass Coalition, Progressive Mass, and other allies across Massachusetts. The links in the email take you to a pre-addressed letter, and it takes less than 30 seconds to send the messages. We think that using your voices as elected officials may help the effort. We hope that each of you will consider sending these emails and lend your voice as elected officials to pressure state leaders to protect immigrant families in Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. As you know, during public participation, because it's not on the agenda as a discussion item, we can't discuss it, but we'd love for you to... I understand. This is more for anybody watching who might not know this. I know you guys know this. But if you did want to come back to a future meeting, we could put it on the agenda. We could certainly have more of a robust discussion about this. And this is the perfect night for you to be here, since Representative Saina and Senator Eldridge are here, and you can talk about anything you want.
Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Jim.
Did you want me to respond or?
No, why don't you do it now? It's
Okay.
timely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much to Abby and Andrew for bringing this up. And we have, as legislators, we have received a lot of emails, asking what is the legislature doing to prepare for the change in the presidency in the federal government. So I am proud to be the Senate sponsor of the Safe Communities Act. Right now, the legislature is in informal session, and I would certainly like to go back and pass this bill this month. But my sense is that we will not go back into session for any formal legislation this year, and so the bill will be refiled. And it certainly is a top priority for a lot of the immigrant communities and advocacy groups. And I will say I was at a meeting earlier today by Metro West Jewish Family Services that convened a meeting with all these allies of immigrants to talk about, what communities we're going to do to support immigrants. So it's certainly very much at the top of my agenda, and something I'll be fighting for to pass early next session, next year, after the bill's filed. But thank you so much for your advocacy. I really appreciate it.
So in terms of open meeting law, because we were doing legislation updates and you just updated that, I'd like to ask a question. If people wanted to support this, what can they do beyond printing, how do they get the information out? I know we received a letter, with information on how to advocate. but how would other people go about it?
Yeah, sure, to contact myself and Representative Sina. I know Representative Sina's, been a co-sponsor ever since he joined the legislature. So to contact us, because I think the more communication, as I will say, happened on this bill when Donald Trump was the president before, we received a lot of communication, so expect that will be the case beginning in about a month. So to contact our office asking us to co-sponsor the bill.
Okay, so the easiest way to do that is to go online and send an email, to call and leave a message, like,
Definitely these
Nuts and
days,
bolts.
email. So yeah, my email is james.eldridge@masenate.gov, and my website, which you can also send a message, is senatoreldridge.com.
and should they be sending notes to Dan also, or just to your office, like?
Yes, definitely to Rep. Sina. Did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, the emailing, calling is certainly one way. Another way is coming to the State House and kind of lobby us especially if we're in session. I think sometimes you can get more, all of us in the same place. Yeah, no, I appreciate the efforts. I know the next 4 years is going to be a lot of work in terms of what do we do to protect immigrant families. I mean, I used to volunteer at a place where we provided health care for people without insurance, and then many were vulnerable in the residents. So what do we do? So I think that's a great way to start.
Right.
Is there anything that we should continue?
We have January 17th is the deadline for us to
Yep.
file bills. So I think not only the Safe Communities Act, but if there's a piece of legislation that I could file that would support the immigrant community and other residents, I would be glad to do so. So really trying to just working together to try to find what's the best approach going forward. I know we did the work in family mobility, which is still the law, and so we want to make sure that that's there, protected, so.
So, in terms of the town, it'd be great if you requested to be on a future agenda. Mike will tell you when there's some space. I would love to open up dialogue. As you all know, I'm a registered Republican, and somebody made the comment that they'd be surprised that I would be open to having this conversation. But you all know me, I'm a humanist at heart. So, so I want to have the discussion, and I want to air opinions, and there are going to be people that have opinions on either side. So if you would bring it forward, and if we wind up having a separate forum outside of a select board meeting, maybe that's the direction we go in. But at any rate, we can't discuss it anymore, but let's discuss it in the future.
Does it have to be done before the 17th of January, or is it immaterial?
It would be best if possible. So-
Before January 15th, when you refile, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to.
17th, sorry.
But that's something maybe we can discuss before, yeah.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. People first. You guys have known me for 30 years. People first. Party second. All righty, any other public input today? Seeing none, we're going to move right along. Okay, so new business, update and discussion. We are honored to have Senator Eldridge and Representative Sina here. Now, I'm very informal, so I am probably going to call you Jamie and Dan.
As you should.
We know, well, you called me Madam Chair, and I'm like, who's that?
Well,
Where is she?
plus they got ties, we don't have
Yeah, we don't
ties.
have time, yeah.
Talk about formal, what the heck?
Last
But,
profession where you have to wear a suit and dress up. Yep.
Well, we like to think that we're a very friendly board, so we're thrilled that you took the time to be here away from your families on a Monday evening. Please, I know Mike had some specific questions that he sent to you guys ahead of time. Do you want to kind of talk about just to set the stage, or do you want to just let them chat?
Sure. We've been talking ongoing throughout the year about water issues, particularly, with regard, first I want to say thank you for all the support that the senator and representative gave to the town in bringing the water line extension from Littleton into West Boxborough. We've continued to talk on a regular basis about other ways to bring water to the rest of town, whether it's across the bridge, across 495 and down Route 111 from Littleton. In the future, that's not part of the, planned project right now, or even options to come from Acton and up 111. So we're talking about those things. We've talked a little bit about economic development opportunities and ways to seek grant funding, especially around the center of the town here, where Middle and Stowe Road intersect 111 and across, along that Mass Ave corridor. We've also talked about the impact that Boxborough and many of the surrounding communities are having with the closure of the hospital up in Ayer. And there've been some questions on that, where we have ongoing dialogue in that.
Yeah, so we're very interested in
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yep, so those are some of the things that we've talked about.
You know what else we'd love to know more about? What's going to happen to the prison, if you know?
I can sort of give you a bit of an update on that, yep.
Well, that's an easy one then, okay. Well, we'll turn it over to you then, and you've got all the time you need, and
No,
fill us
thank
in.
you. Well, I want to thank the board for inviting us tonight. I really appreciate the time for us to discuss ways that we can better support Boxborough. I had a meeting with the town manager a couple of months ago, and we discussed many of the projects that the town is looking to do and ways that we can partner in terms of filing, earmarks or supporting the grants initiatives. One particular discussion that we tried to do was to get a grant for Boxborough to be able to purchase a ambulance given the crisis with Nashoba. I know that's something we tried to help, but unfortunately there was some pushback from the department and explaining the numbers as to why the reasoning Boxborough was not among the 10 towns, I think, that benefited from this grant. Another update is that we wrote a letter together, Senator Eldridge and I, requesting the cross, I think, was Blanchard, and so we got an update on that the DOT is going to do it. What are they called?
Really?
So it's the,
That's exciting, and that's fast, too.
RFID, yep, so we don't have a timeline as to
Right.
when. I did ask that question.
No, but the
to-
fact that
to
they
my
even
office.
entertained it. and
Yeah,
said no.
so that's a great news. I mean, we also have, with the economic development bill that we passed, $45,000 of bond money was authorized for the culvert at Guggins Brook
Yeah.
in Liberty Square Road. So that's something that we will ask the governor to release those funds, so we
Excellent.
can get that.
So for anybody watching, Bob, why don't you just really quick,
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, so that money's over Liberty Square Road, and we were waiting for money for that. So that money has been approved?
Well, it's not an earmark, so it's not like we have direct flow of the funds, but it's a bond money. In other words, we have to lobby to get that money for the
Oh.
town. So it's there, it's authorized, it's in the bill.
Okay.
But it just requires another layer of, if I may say, bureaucracy to release those funds, but it's something we can certainly be pushing to get it quickly as possible.
Yeah, that would be great. As you know, Mike and the DPW, Ed Kuka, have been working really hard to hold off fixing that culvert until we could get that money, because it's going to be very expensive. It's a major thoroughfare in the town. A lot of people use Liberty Square Road to get to 111, to get to Acton, so it is a major thoroughfare. It's going to cause a lot of disruption on school buses, on school bus schedules, on people, so we're riding on, as the saying goes, riding on borrowed time with that. So as soon as we can get that, that would be great for anything.
Absolutely, no, thank you. And the other question, I think, was regarding the MBTA housing.
overlap?
'Cause, yeah, so it looks like the Boxborough has the deadline of December 31st, 2025. The Milton case is not being argued by the Supreme Judicial Court. So no decision has been made yet. It was, I think, argued back in October. I think that's what we were able to find out. Any other questions in regards, I mean, we're going to be, filing legislation. We have a couple month deadline. But then after that, we're going to get the assignments for the committee assignments that will guide us in which area we want to focus more. But I think Priya has a question.
Yeah. I know the last time you and I spoke, you had talked about, especially for the Nashoba closing, you were going to talk to the governor about Boxborough getting the funds. I see that there are towns like Pepperell and Townsend, they are not even in the perimeter of
Yeah.
Nashoba, and they got the money. We didn't get the money. I know we are a small community, but
Yeah,
is it just because we are a little guy, our voice
Yeah.
is not going to be heard?
Priya, I thank you for that question. I mean, those were my sentiments as to why we even pushed the governor's office or the agency to include Boxborough.
Yeah.
I had an hour meeting with them over Zoom, but they had 5 or 6 of their members explaining thoroughly as to why. And I was certainly convinced that what they informed me that was really with the decision that they made in terms of the grant, that Boxborough was not in line to benefit from that. I mean, they had numbers in which indicated the reason why those towns received, given the location. I mean, but here we have Emerson Hospital, so that it was one of the reasons as to locality, how far distance you were from the next hospital, and they would probably relied on Lowell General or
Leominster.
yeah.
Councilman, go to Leominster,
Right
Pepperell.
Yeah.
now, we are like transporting people to Worcester sometimes, Leominster,
Yeah.
Lowell.
Yeah.
So that takes us a lot longer. Even with Emerson, with all the additional inflow,
Yeah.
our staff are getting stuck there
Yeah.
for at least an hour extra.
I had to agree to disagree with them. I mean, certainly I respected their decision, but certainly it's not something I was thrilled to receive myself. But I don't know, we can look for other ways, other grants that we can try to, work together. I did open the door with administration, so, okay, what can we do here for, if this grant is not a possibility, what can we do moving forward to make sure that Boxborough also receives their fair share?
I hear there's something on the 19th. Is there like a forum or anything? Are you guys aware?
Yes, yes, so I can add to what Representative Sina said is that, so first of all, it's extremely disappointing that, basically the Secretary of Health and Human Services, DPH, et cetera, did an analysis that allegedly said, well, it did say, we disagree with it, that Boxborough wasn't as served by Neshoba Valley compared to communities like Lunenburg and the Pepperell area. So we, of course, disagree with that, and we continue to advocate for funding there. Representative Sina and I are on the Neshoba Valley Health Working Group, which is the working group that was formed by the governor after the closure of the hospital. So we met last week virtually, and then to your point, Priya, we're having another meeting next week. So I think the idea is they're coming up with a whole analysis of the gaps in healthcare given the closure of the hospital. So my hope would be is that we could pass some sort of financial package for the whole region, and that would be another opportunity, hopefully, for Boxborough to get some funding, maybe for an ambulance or other staff for support. Given that part of the presentation last week was that even if there was another hospital provider to come in right now to purchase the building and air, it would be at least a year for all the approvals to happen. So what are we going to do during this terrible period of time of a serious gap, especially for emergency services? So that's sort of the update on that. So we're going to continue to advocate with those meetings that we're having.
I mean, the elephant in the room, I would say, too, is removing the profit from healthcare. I mean, that's why we're leading to this crisis. So we want to make sure that, maybe another.
I agree with that. Now, would it help for us to have a representative there, like when you have these forums, or can we trust that we will be well represented and taken care of?
There are a couple towns that, again, share the frustration of some of those other towns do have representation, and they have fire chiefs who attend the meeting. So for example, the Air town administrator he's actually the co-chair of the working group. So I think the challenge is that the working group, I think, is made up of 24 members. We just was getting a little unwieldy to have too many members. But there is municipal representation.
No, I just want the legislatures and the governor's office to know that we as a small community, we don't have a big workforce on the fire department. And every additional hour that it takes for them to respond is a burden to our population. So I just want them to realize and understand and help us in any way that they can.
I think the other thing I'd want to point out is we do have an aging demographic. People don't move out of Boxborough, which is lovely. We have 3 over 55 communities, and again, if you look at the census, we're aging, which just plain means more.
Priya, you mentioned
we have 4 over 55.
Some people are going to, to Worcester. What are the scenarios and why they would go to Worcester?
Because if the hospitals, Emerson is too full, they can't even triage, right? There's not even space for them to take emergencies. then they're getting redirected to sometimes to Worcester, to Lowell, to Leominster. So it's just a lot more.
I can ask to see if there was a letter as to why Boxborough did not receive,
Yeah.
just a little explanation, so I can better answer your question.
Yeah.
But,
I can have our fire chief kind of give you a
and
little bit more
we
details
have, yes,
about
we actually
these so
worked,
that
yeah, no, I did
yeah.
work with his office or with him
Yeah.
on this, but yeah.
I think you answered the question, but I was gonna ask a question. I'm assuming Boxborough isn't the only one that's complaining that they didn't get part of the grant. How many other towns were complaining that they weren't part of the grant? Can you have a rough number? Is it 1, 2, 3, 5, 10?
I think 2 or 3 others that I heard from. Yeah.
2 or 3
Yeah.
others that.
Yes, they really expected that they would get, at least that $250,000
A
grant.
a portion of that. Okay.
I think we need to be a squeaky wheel then. Maybe talk to John Kivlin
Yeah.
about definitely being involved. Let's be squeaky and get some assistance
Chief
there.
and I have talked a lot about this, and we have been talking with the senator and representative who have been, fighting hard to find out why and explain our situation. There was a chiefs meeting today of chiefs in this area. Unfortunately, it was in the middle of our negotiations with the fire union, so the chief couldn't go. But tomorrow, there's a meeting up at Devon's of area town managers and administrators, and I'm gonna be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and I'll be able to report back on what that's about. I don't think it's not just about this, but it's about all of the problems because of the hospital closure. So I'll report back at next week's meeting on how that goes.
Thank you. All right, great.
Thank you. Thank you for
No,
listening.
thank you. Any other questions? Turn over to Senator Eldridge, or do we, David, looks like.
I think. Oh, good. I was gonna say, the only question I had, and Representative, you touched on it, was the MBTA. And you kind of mentioned about, I think there's a lawsuit now happening with
Right.
Milton, and then Lexington is now supposedly
There's
gonna
a
be getting
couple
into
of
it.
others too, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, not Lexington, because they're actually already building 1,000 units.
Oh, okay.
So it's another town, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
There was something going on with Needham, maybe.
Needham, that's
And
right,
Needham,
yeah.
that's who it-
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then I think you mentioned, we've got to have it in place by December 31st, 2025.
Right.
Not in 15 days, but a year and 15 days. Is there any update? What's going to happen with that?
It's unclear what will happen with the lawsuit, and to be clear, I do support the MBTA Communities Act. The question is around, does the state have the power to force a community, if you will, to adopt the MBTA Communities Act? Currently, the explicit language in the law was that the state can say that a town is no longer eligible for grants, so like Mass Works grant, housing choice grants, et cetera. So that, I don't think that's at question. I think the question is there an ability for the state to force a community, if you will, to become an MBTA Communities Act?
Right, so what you just said, so, I mean, because that's the worst case scenario. We don't want to be excluded from getting grants. Is that not a possibility, or what are you saying about that? I'm not excluded.
That to me seems clear, because that was explicitly in the law.
That we would be excluded.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we work hard and appreciate the work of, Mike Johns and this board and, previous boards on securing Mass Works grants for, Mass Ave and other projects, so.
I think we have to look really hard. The town has consistently said we need more affordable housing. This is a way of doing it. So I think we have to be open-minded. It's a little scary. I think our number is 250-something units to comply. Frightening. But I also think we need to be looking at affordable housing. So, yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, there's a balance. We've got to find a balance in there. And I would actually, suggest that. Maybe instead of just blanket percentages, it's more looking at what a town can handle, and if you're willing to opt in for a percentage of it, you're still opting in.
Absolutely. And the thing I would emphasize is that if a town does zone, create an MBTA Communities Act zoning bylaw designation, obviously you still have to have a developer come forward and propose that development. It doesn't mean that housing is going to happen. It's just
Right.
saying that it's by right, if you will.
I guess my question is, again, I'm pulling this number out of the back of my brain. I had 253 in my head that might have nothing to do with anything. But like, if we built 50 and you move forward in the spirit of what it is, does that still prevent you from being on the do not grant list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very casual here, being very Kristen here.
Well, my interpretation is if Boxborough does create these areas, that then essentially your work is done.
Even if you
And-
don't meet the threshold that's been given.
Well, no, you have to meet the threshold.
Ah.
I guess my point is that housing's actually not, realistically, especially when you consider all of Eastern Mass, realistically, a lot of this housing, it's gonna take many years for it to be built, whether you're looking at interest rates, whether you're looking at the likelihood of this amount of housing being built all at once.
Right,
It's gonna
okay.
take place over a number of years.
So my understanding is that, Alec, our land use director, Alec Wade, is working with a team in town here, and he brought someone in last month from MAPC, gave a great presentation and a forum at the library, and they're working steadily towards getting to the May town meeting to present something that the town can vote on. If the town votes in favor of adopting, whatever that proposal is, then we've met our requirement. And then, as the Senator says, then it's up to developers to bid on the project and the construction process to go through. The main hurdle for us is to adopt it, and then we wouldn't be cut off from these grants through the state. And there are a number of options that they're looking at, and they had a very active group over at the library, as I said, recently, and they're going to continue to meet. And they're getting community input. They want input on, what does the community want? Where does the community want it? How do we build it? And, there's such thing as, kind of doing the paper shuffle through it, and then there's, actually planning for it. And from what I saw of this group, they were actually planning for it, which is good, because we in the community, as well as across the Commonwealth and the nation, need housing. And that's what Alec and his working group are looking at, is how do we realistically approach that goal, protect the housing interests as well as the grant interests of the community. So I think they're
Right.
doing great work.
Absolutely.
And Alec would be here this
was-
evening, except that his father was just released from the hospital. He's doing well, but he's
good.
caring for his mother and father.
Was just at the local level, I don't remember, was the MBTA ever voted on in the town, or was just not considered yet?
It'll be in May.
Yeah,
In
it's
May.
coming May.
It's coming May.
I think that'll be really important to do that public education piece, because even I was very gray on this, so understanding exactly,
So, right,
Okay.
to your point, I didn't realize that it was it's two-part.
right,
The town can do its part as far as adopting and passing the policy and designate a zone. We're done. Then it's up to a developer to come in and say, okay, now we can build a 250. So we would still be entitled, from what I understand, once we adopt the policy, we're done.
Right.
If no developer wants to build 253 houses,
or
doesn't
whatever it
matter.
is, yeah. Okay, so good. See, we learned something tonight. All right,
I think we're better positioned actually than the town where I live. The town where I lived is very much against adopting it. And when I worked on the EDC in my hometown, we secured a number of MassWorks grants. The most recent was $1.2 million for infrastructure in the center of town on the roadways that was needed. And next Monday night, when we're meeting here, my hometown is going to be doing their special town meeting. And I think it's going to be right on the edge. And if the town doesn't adopt it, we're going to lose significant funding. And, there's water lines needed, there's all the same sort of stuff that we need here. And I think it could go either way. And I was talking with our MBTA liaison at the library last month. And he asked, when I mentioned that, he said, where do you live? And I told him, and he said, oh yeah, we're worried about that town. And they're really split. And I don't know which way it'll go. I
Interesting.
hope it passes for good reasons.
yeah.
Well, that's a great segue, because my question.
We haven't even let Senator Eldridge talk yet.
But I don't know, I still wanted to say, sorry, I gotta go. So, we've got construction projects going on here
Yes.
now, right? We've got the bridge that's coming,
Yes.
it's gonna take a couple of years to be done. We've got the water coming in through Littleton.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things have come up. One is, for the bridge, there's been, they're gonna build a sidewalk and it's like a wider sidewalk on the other side. I forget what the terminology was, but a shared pathway or something.
Like complete
But there's no,
streets or-
but there's
Yeah.
no sidewalks to either of that. It's just, we got them there. So for people, and we have about 25% of the town lives on the other side of
20%.
of 495,
Yeah.
but But
They're
there's
cut
no,
off.
so they would be safe to walk to, across the bridge, but not to get to the bridge or from the bridge, you know, so my question about that, and it's similar to my next question, is like, how do we, you know, get something to, you know, how do we go about getting grants or work toward, you know, toward that type of infrastructure? And maybe before you answer that question, the water, on the water
We're on the
line.
third question, right? Just kidding.
Well, it's the water line.
Just stacking them up.
And the water line is going across, but, you know, we would like to have a line that would go across the bridge, right? So it's already.
Like a water line?
A water line,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, there was
Okay.
discussion about, you know, having a 12-inch pipe,
Okay.
and they said they would put a bay in for that. But it's like, okay, I don't know.
They were
that-
very careful about that. I was on the Zoom for that one. DOT was very careful about saying, we will leave space for you.
We'll leave
Would
space,
not
yeah.
commit either way.
Right, so
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, it was very,
Okay.
they were very careful.
so both of these projects are in play, you know, I mean, and
Right.
it's like, how can we try to affect something now that will help us in the future, instead of, well, you know, okay, well, we're gonna have to do this, you're
Right.
gonna have to go through all this stuff to get that pipe across the highway, when they could just do it while
Well, it's open.
Is this
Well,
at Route
it's
111?
Yeah, this is 111.
the 111 bridge. So anyway, so those are my questions about, it's about infrastructure, it's about grant money and the
And process.
process for the town to kind of seek that out, is it?
Sure, sure. Well, with respect to the Mass DOT project, and again, I know there was the public hearing, this is really where for Rep. Sina and I to advocate, you know, for the design and the commitment of money for everything that will be in there, including the water line. I guess my question is, or perhaps request is the select board sent a letter or voted on what you'd like to see in that design? Because that would probably be helpful, yeah, if you could send a letter about what you'd like to see with that design, including the water
Yeah,
line.
it's been kind of organic. It's like, you know, when all of a sudden you realize the highway's gonna be open and being worked on for 2 years, okay, what else should we be doing while it's open? So it's kind of grown. I think it came up only maybe a month ago. So, all right, well, we'll get
Yeah.
something in writing.
Well, right, I think there was a lot of, to today's point, I think there was miscommunication. When we said, oh, they're gonna be putting a sidewalk in, we said, okay, great, then we put a sidewalk in, they're gonna go from Codman Hill Road to all the way across into Boxborough. And then when they came, they go, no, we're not touching that, we're putting a sidewalk on the bridge, that's all we're doing. So it's kind of like, you got a sidewalk, you can't get, as he said, you got a sidewalk, you can't get it to from this side, you can't get it to from this side. And the same thing with the waterway. The water pipe, from what I heard, and from what I understood, is gonna go, come in from Swanson Road, cross 111, and go down Codman Hill. And they said they're gonna put a 10-foot T in 111 for someone, so someone can tap off on it at some future date. And I'm gonna go, wait, great, so we got a T that we can put it, and you've already dug it up, and now we've got to put a pipe that goes from that T at the intersection of Codman Hill and Swanson Road across the bridge. And as they said, we will draft a letter, because that makes no sense at all. If you've already digging it up, and you're gonna put a junction right to the road, and then you're gonna put a cap on it, because like, oh, no, we can't put another pipe there. So, I agree.
But just to follow up on that point, I'm not sure that they're putting that T in, because it's not
No,
in the
they are.
diagrams.
No, they are. I asked that guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, but you know what, though? I'm just gonna be devil's advocate here. You asked a question, you got an answer, but if it's not in the diagram, it ain't happening.
I don't know.
So,
When we
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to-
so there's,
When we go to draft a letter, we probably want to get together with Les Fox, who's in the room here. He's the chair of our Water Resources Commission, and he's had extensive conversations for years with Mass DOT about getting that bay, and as well as with Littleton Water. So, you know, I think he'd be able to help with the right wording and what's already been discussed and agreed to and not agreed to. I know he's been working on this for years, and I know you're the liaison to that committee, so I think that would be helpful when we do craft that letter. And then, you know, if it goes as smoothly as the letter for signalizing the crosswalks went, I mean, you voted to send a letter. We crafted that letter, sent it to, you know, to the senator and the representative. They immediately sent off their letters in support of that and sent it over to Adam as requested, and he fired one off from the school committee immediately. And I think that really helps. So if we can do the same sort of thing with the water and all be on the same page, I think it would be really helpful, give that same signals. So I think we want to be on the same page with Les, though. He's done a lot
Les,
of work on
and not
this.
to put you on the spot, but do you have anything you want to say to these guys while they're here? We've got them. You?
Yeah, you do.
No, you can grab the microphone and sit. You don't have to stand. We can just pass the mic, that's right.
Yeah, thank you very much. The water line project is moving along very well. The water line project is about bringing drinking water to the western side of town. Mass DOT has been very generous in supporting the project. They've contributed $6 million to the project to
Thank you, DOT.
offset costs to all the end users. And they are responsible for putting in the utility bay on the bridge, which is in their plans. When I saw the most recent drawings, the thing that came to my mind, and I don't know the answer yet, is that there is in the drawing an extension from the crossing of Mass Avenue to the east, but the end of the drawing ends there, and I don't know what happens after that. So I need to find out, does the complete plan include a pipe to the bridge? Does it include a pipe across the bridge, which I don't think it does? And what's come to our mind recently is that we would like to have the pipe go all the way across the bridge for a short distance to around where Adams Place is, so that we can put a fire hydrant there. So not for drinking water.
Oh, fire hydrant.
You don't use much water for firefighting, but when you need it, you need it.
And we've got a lot of people right there.
A lot of people there. We have commercial properties there, and there's no central water source for that. Panic Estates has its own fire pond. I don't know how good a shape that's in, but it would be very wise to try to get firefighting water to that eastern side of the town, eastern side of the bridge. So I'm going to be talking to my contacts at DOT and Littleton about that, and see if we can all figure out what we're doing here. It
I'm
may
glad
need
you were
some more
here
money
tonight.
to make it happen, so that's when I want to give you a heads up that we may be looking for sources of funds to do that project.
Okay.
It's not a small distance. So surprisingly, it's over 2,000 feet from the intersection of Mass Avenue and Codman Hill to the end of the bridge, so.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation tonight.
And a project like that is most likely going to involve Mass Works funding.
Oh, yeah.
And when you start digging up 111,
Yeah.
Right.
so, just, I think that reflects back to our earlier conversation, which is, how we approach and vote on MBTA housing, and then how that folds into our infrastructure and bringing water to the rest of the town. So the two are tied.
Yes, Littleton's already broken ground up on their end near Nancy's Way. And they're not going to be coming into Boxborough until next year, which is coming right up. And our estimated date for completion of the water line is January 1, 2027. So there is some time to sort things out, but it's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, so we should get going on it.
1 year.
Okay.
And if I could add something, I mean, I think that it's frustrating as it is, and I hate to be in the position of trying to speak for or defend Mass Highway or Mass DOT. But of course, they're looking at it as, this is a bridge project, so
Right.
and they have limitations on how much they can spend as well. But certainly, I fully agree on the water line. I would say with respect to the sidewalks, and this speaks a bit to what Mike Johns just said, is that it could be another grant. So the Complete Streets grant, which has created sidewalks in many communities. I'm not sure if Boxborough has received Complete Streets before, but that's a potential, Dave, that given that the sidewalk isn't going very far under the current proposal for the renovation of the bridge, is Complete Streets could make that difference. So.
Okay.
Great.
So it's mirroring it all together.
And that's great to give us that detail. I mean, that's the detail we're looking for.
And that again is something that Alec is working on with his goals with the planning board, is the Complete Streets.
Good.
Senator Eldridge, I think a couple months back when you and I were talking about water,
Yes.
one of the things that you had mentioned is about joining a water district if we have to look for a full-fledged, full-scale water supply to the town.
Right.
Can you expand on that a little bit more so that everybody else will get an idea about how we can avail some of the grants?
Sure, yeah, and I can't speak too much about it, though I will say before the meeting, I did speak briefly with Les about it, is that, of course, a town like Boxborough that doesn't have a water district and public, water system, is that it could join another water district like Acton or Littleton, and then is eligible for the Clean Water Trust funding. Of course, and this was, honestly, I think Clean Water Trust and Mass DEP's one of their favorite projects this year was the connection between Boxborough and Littleton for delivering the water, to mostly the apartments and condos in Boxborough. So that was a great partnership. If Boxborough were to formally, join a water district, which I understand is a very big step, and I understand there's a lot of discussion around it, but then you'd be much more eligible for major, like $20, $30, $40 million loans or grants through the Clean Water Trust through that water district. So Acton or Littleton, I would assume. But my sense is those discussions are ongoing and nothing's certain yet.
Okay, great. So what
just
did you? Oh,
curious on the water discussion. Because I have we have a private water bill. What is the percentage of residents relying on private wells for their
100%.
water?
100%.
Well,
So,
so after the water line extension from the Woodbridge
Yeah.
comes in, it'll still be 80% of the community on private wells. And in fact, this building and all the rest of our buildings are also on private wells.
water. So about 80, so
yeah,
80%.
Until that line
Until
comes
that.
in, it's 100% needed.
Right now, yeah.
And then that water
Yeah, right
line will
now
take
it's-
care of 20% of the community.
Okay.
All right, now you get to talk about anything you want to talk about. The most important person in the room. Let's go. Yeah, I'm actually, well, I figured you had some things you wanted to bring to us because we asked you for an update. But yes, I would love to know a little bit more about what the Commonwealth has planned for the Concord prison area. I know the maximum security is closed. Is the minimum security closing also?
No, that's remaining open.
They're going
yeah.
to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep,
All
exactly.
right. So your choice. You can talk about what you want or what I want. Your choice.
Well, I'll speak about both.
Okay, I love that.
So I would just say, I think usually the two of us are before the board, like late winter, spring, and there's budget updates. So obviously we don't have any budget updates because at the end of the session. But to follow up on what Representative Sina said is that, after we get sworn in and file legislation, that's probably the major focus is if there are any bills that the board would like us to file. Just as an example of something that I'm filing that could possibly benefit Boxborough is that I know a lot of communities are creating a sustainability director position, but I know that's very difficult often for a small town to afford financially. So I'll be filing a bill that would create a 2-year grant cycle for communities to apply, including with other communities, to hire a sustainability director to work on reducing energy use. So that's legislation, that I filed.
Would waste management fall under that at all? Waste management or no?
I don't think so. It's really focused
Okay.
on,
Energy.
climate action and
Okay.
energy reduction.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So that's just an example of something that I'll be filing. I filed this session the municipal local tax options bill with the MMA to allow a community, again, a local option to raise things like the meals tax, hotel tax, and excise tax that would stay local. So just so you know, I'll be refiling that bill, working with the MMA. And then I would just say on the revenue front, it seems a little bit mixed. Some months revenue has been very good. I think this past month the revenue was good for the state, but there's been other months where it's bad. There is concern that with the change in administration, there could be cuts to certain federal aid, including federal infrastructure projects. That's extremely concerning. So we need to figure out, how state government needs to respond. And then on the sort of education front is that, the good news is that the mass fair share so-called millionaires tax, it's exceeded revenue, so it's expected to raise $2.4 billion a year. We only spent $1.3 billion this year, so that's an opportunity for more K through 12 funding. I know, and I see Adam Klein
That,
here.
that was my, so Adam was next on my list. Adam, we have a captive audience. What do you got? So Adam, you think right now.
He's gonna grab a
Okay.
mic real quick.
Well, we've been before the school committee several weeks ago, so we're working on answering some questions from that committee. But I certainly think that, school districts like Acton Boxborough School District should receive more state aid. I think there's a big push. You're seeing communities that are not passing overrides or facing budget cuts, including Acton Boxborough. So that's, I'm very committed to trying to increase the funding.
And that would come
for
from the
school district.
millionaire's tax. That'd be part of the earmark?
Yes, it can, because the millionaire's tax is only for education and transportation. Yep.
Okay.
So it's only for two purposes. Yep. So I think that we have the revenue to do that, so.
Was there a reason I'm gonna call it underspent, was that, strategic? Under promise, over deliver, so spend a little less, carry over the money for other projects, or just because you weren't unsure of the revenues?
It was the first year of it, so we didn't
Yeah.
want to commit till we got a firmer sense of the revenue that was likely come in year to year.
Okay,
So-
yeah, being prudent.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
And this is the first year of the revenue, right?
Right, exactly. Yep, so, universal school meals, early education, debt-free community college, those were some of the investments that were made, so.
No, but I'm saying, this was the first year that what you got was a 2.4, you really didn't know how much.
Right,
you were going to
exactly.
get. So now you
Yep.
can, now you can get a sense of going forward, how much it should be about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
So since we were just talking about that, Adam, anything you want to bring up while you're at the select board?
Yeah, give him the mic, here we go.
Hand over
Here
the
we go.
mic. You are sorry you came. Next time we invite you, you're going to be busy, aren't you?
Well, I'll first thank Senator Eldridge and Rep. Santa for coming to the school committee a couple months ago. What I would say is, I would echo what we asked at that time, which was, we really need the legislation to look at our Chapter 70 funding. I'll tell
Right.
you right now, we just looked at our enrollment projections where we thought we were at the sort of the dip in our enrollment and we were due to go back up. Our projections have us flat for the next 10 years, which means that we continue to fall into the hole of hold harmless, which means that our district, our towns we don't get the additional funding that some of the other districts, actually 211 of us don't get additional funding
Right.
each year. We just get another roughly $30 per pupil each year in additional funding from the state. For a town like Boxborough, this is really, really hard because not only are we not seeing that extra revenue at the school level, but we're seeing a shift of enrollment from Acton into Boxborough. So we're projecting next year, Acton's assessment from the school district will go up less than 1%, whereas Boxborough's assessment from the school district will go up close to 5%. So it's really hard for our small town to be able to bear that weight of the additional assessment. It is the way the formula works, but since we don't get any other sources of revenue other than the tax base in our two towns, it's really hard to keep up the services that we provide. And with our enrollment being flat, we're gonna see this be a problem for years to come. We're gonna take a hard look at it from the school committee side, but it means cuts. And we will have to balance cuts with keeping the quality education that we have. So, the request is the same as it was a couple months ago. Whatever we can do to look at the Chapter 70 funding model to help get some more funding to communities like ours where we're low enrollment, not growing in enrollment, and we're hold harmless and we're not seeing additional revenue each year.
So I think that's significant. I'm going to marry that to looking at our demographics and our need for the ambulance. We've got an aging demographic, but we also have young families moving in with children. But the entire state of Massachusetts, I believe our population is declining, correct? So in other words, the formula that was determined no longer works. If there's 211 communities that are being impacted by a formula that no longer works, sounds like you guys have some math to do.
Well, certainly, yeah, I think what I would say is that we need to look at, increasing unrestricted local aid, which has been fairly flat over the past several years.
Right.
And of course, that, means we have to look at revenue, right? So just to be
Oh,
clear,
understood.
yeah.
It's a dance, and we do we understand we're asking a lot of you tonight, but it's nice to have the opportunity to be heard, so. Okay.
And if I could just respond to Adam really quickly, and thank you for having us, is that since the meeting is, my understanding is Peter Light is part of the minimum aid regional school district meetings that are happening to talk about a request by all the regional school districts, including Acton Boxborough. So, which hopefully will be successful next year, so we'll support it.
All right, so lots of good things happening, lots of questions, lots of concerns. Anything else you want to wrap up with? Although I still want to hear about Concord.
Yes, well, I know, a good reminder about the
Yeah,
the
thanks.
the Concord prison.
Well, only because the Rotary impacts us.
Right.
Whatever happens there is going to really impact most of us who are commuting
Right.
east. Because we're a Route 2 corridor town.
Right. Well, first of all, I want to give full credit as far as the push on fixing the Concord Rotary.
Yes.
Bob and Marlene Stempel. Yep, so I don't know if you remember them being on TV a couple of years ago, but without.
I did not know.
Yeah,
You're a celebrity?
Well, yeah, we're on WBC-TV.
Oh,
Interviewed
Yep.
out in there and everything.
did not know.
so that was really the first time there'd been attention in about 10 years, because we did have funding 15 years ago to fix the Rotary, and unfortunately, the town of Concord couldn't agree on a design, so that money went elsewhere. So now, and we
I'm
really.
not going to say anything about Concord.
Yep, yep. We really.
Our
careful.
friendly friends to the east.
So we really have to give credit to our colleague Representative Simon Cataldo, who's the state rep for Concord and part of Acton, is that he's working to get it on the capital plan for the 5-year transportation plan to fix. So it would hopefully be a overpass, so there would no longer be a rotary, and be an overpass with exits, similar to Crosby's Corner in Lincoln.
Yep.
A little different, but that.
I was
model
just
would-
talking to someone
Exit,
that
so.
had to loop the Rotary because they couldn't get off. It's just- You do
Right.
have to know how to do it.
So what helps us, of course, is the closure of the prison, because now, obviously, that land is much more able to be changed or
Now,
developed.
who owns that? Who owns the land?
When a prison closes, it goes to DCAM, which is the surplus land state agency.
Okay.
State does, yeah.
And so, in the budget was passed a sort of a subcommittee between the town of Concord and DCAM to determine the use of the 65 acres of land that's now from the closure of the prison. So it could be housing, it could be, soccer fields, it could be open space,
Overpasses.
could be businesses, so,
Okay.
yep,
All right.
Yep.
All right, interesting. Okay.
yep. But that process is ongoing, so.
And Senator, I don't know if you've seen it, but Laurie Trahan has also mentioned, I saw a Facebook post from her.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, that she's now on the bandwagon to work with the federal government to see what they can do about the infrastructure of Route 2, overpass the Route 2. Route
Yes,
2.
yep,
Yep.
yep.
So
That's
exactly.
terrific.
So I don't know if you had anything to do with it, but thank you very much, but it was like out of the blue, all of a sudden, Laurie raised her hand, so I thank you, Laurie, for jumping on
Yes.
board.
Great. So is there anything else you want us to know?
I think that's it, but I did want to say I was at the Christmas tree menorah lighting on Saturday night, so I like the new location, so I want to thank Mike for inviting me. And I want to commend Adam for his efforts to add the menorah lighting to the celebration, so thanks. It was great to see you.
I just do what I'm told, but thank you.
That is best. That is best for all. Yes, yes, yes.
But it was a great turnout, I think about 400 people or something, it looked like.
We easily could have had more than 400 cookies consumed if we had more. So, yes.
I can tell you 300 candy canes were given out.
Oh, okay.
No, that's great. Unfortunately, it was traveling, and I missed it. I can't wait to see it. Thrilled that it was a huge success, actually. That helps with all the people complaining that it's no longer up at Middle Road anymore, at the Ugly Tree. Excellent. All right, so before these guys go, we kept them for an hour. Did anybody on Zoom or in the audience that have any questions, comments, thoughts that they'd like to share before we let these gentlemen go home? Anybody? All right. Well, thank you
Surprise.
again.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you
you guys.
so much.
Appreciate
It's a
it.
big deal.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a hand?
Oh, did we? Rita?
Oh, Rita, please. We're not done. It's okay, Rita. Jump in.
Someone unmute her.
I
Hi,
didn't-
hold on.
Hi.
Okay.
There you are.
Yes, my iPad's crashing. I just had a question about the MBTA and being a community. The housing can go anywhere within the town, correct?
Right, it's not because you don't have, obviously, a train station, so it's not the half-mile rule, so I think it's anywhere in the town, I think.
It's anywhere in the town, okay. Because the half mile within the radius of the Littleton station, we'd have to put it in the wildlife management area. it probably is not going to work so well. So if it can go anywhere in the town. And it can be market rate housing and affordable housing?
Yeah, there's no requirement that any of it's affordable, but the allowed amount at the state level is 10%, because, and this gets into the finances, realistically, it's going to be difficult to build truly affordable housing unless you have significant government subsidies. And, you know, we did pass a housing bond bill, but that's not really for the MBTA Communities Act, so it's really the theory that with more dense housing, even if it's market rate, that it'll lead to more, less expensive housing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the definition of affordability versus moderately priced versus designated affordable housing, right, yeah. So
Yeah.
to clarify, when I was talking earlier, I actually meant about moderately priced homes, the availability,
Right.
that you don't need $1 million to move to Boxborough. That would be nice.
Exactly. And Rita, I do just want to point out, since you said something about wildlife land, just to be very clear, no land that's conservation land or you know, protected under Article 97 would allow to be developed. So it's only on land that's industrial or residential, but not conservation land.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would.
Are you talking about like natural heritage overlay? What are you talking about, Rita?
No, I was most concerned about the half-mile radius around a train station. And in Boxborough, the half-mile radius around the Littleton station, there's really no place to put anything. So that has been clarified, so that's no longer an issue. And then I was just questioning the type of housing. And I apologize, I'm not totally up to speed on this legislation just yet. And then, but you've answered my questions, and I think the challenge for Boxborough is finding, you know, the right locations that can accommodate houses that are, you know, multifamily type developments, or, you know, just denser development that can accommodate the number that we would have to achieve. So.
I just want to say one thing, though, that Littleton, which is passed this MBTA Communities Act, they have set aside land near the train station
Yes.
to comply, so they have done that.
Yes, and they have land that does comply near the train station.
Yeah.
So, yes, okay. Okay, thank you. Good to see you both.
You too, thank you.
Anybody else? And thank you, I didn't see that hand go up, so thank you very much, Wes, for calling that out. All right, well, again, thank you for coming. We
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
the hour you spent with us.
Thank you so
That was a long
much.
time. That was a long
Yeah.
time to get hammered.
Yeah, we should do
Other
this
towns
more
are meaner
often.
than we are. No, that's it, I don't think we've
Wes
hammered.
had no question today, Wes. Wes is quiet.
Don't speak too soon.
Quick, hurry up and run.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks again for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Nice to see you guys, thank you again.
see you.
Sorry. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, good to see you as always.
All right, well, I'll shake it here.
I hope you're ready. Yes.
We could.
Yes. No, really, that's what.
No, now we have to find the YouTube. There must be on YouTube. Who knew? Okay,
Okay, next thing is the donation from the Minutemen.
yeah.
Kirby's gonna come up and take a picture, I think.
Awesome, so here in my mouth.
I mean, if you're doing the electric truck.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't just close the hospital.
Don't do that to me.
Get to the motions later.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have a few more special guests tonight. Next thing on our agenda item is to accept a donation from the Boxborough Minuteman Company. And I see that Wendy Trinks is here, and Tony Newton, and I'm spacing your name, oh my goodness. Thank you. If everybody, if you'd like to stand up and, or grab the mic and sit and fill us all in. And if you don't mind introducing yourselves, because people do watch this on TV.
Yeah. So, Tony Newton, Boxer Minutemen. I'm a past captain of Minutemen. I'm joined by Chad Childers, who's the current captain for Minutemen.
Wonderful.
And Wendy, of course. So it's our pleasure actually to be able to donate some money to the community services program. Minutemen, as you know, do a number of things: civic duties, civic events. You often see us picking up trash along 111, for example. One big thing we do is Fivers Day each year, and Fivers Day is actually going from strength to strength. I would say last year we had a really great year at Fivers Day, and which has helped us financially to actually make a little bit more money, which we want put back into the community. So that's what we're doing that. We're also a historical organisation. There's lots going on now in that area, which Chad will tell you a little bit about.
Great.
So this next year is going to be the 250th of the Concord Battle. Lots of changes. It's going to be, the Concord Parade is going to be on a Saturday this year. We're hoping to do more with the Historic Commission in town. We've put in a new historic marker on the Luther Blanchard homestead. We're going to do something on that. This is the 250th anniversary also of that certain committee being formed to get the meeting house from Harvard. So, the first hints of formation of the town. So
it's a big year. This is a really big year, you're telling us.
A lot of exciting things going on, yes.
Awesome. Great.
So it's our pleasure to present this check to Wendy to help out at Christmas time.
Wendy, do you want to talk about? Yeah. Very exciting.
So you need to do it again if you would like to.
Oh, we do.
One more time.
There you go.
Look at that, there you go.
There. All smiles.
I love it.
Thank you very
So yeah,
much.
tell us about the partnership a little bit. What the funds will be used for? How you got here?
Yes, how I got here. That's
Well,
a long story.
to taking that check out of their hand.
So anyway, we have had a great partnership with the Minutemen since I have been here the last few years. They've come to me. Tony has done a great job even talking to the company about donating for the gift fund. For the holiday gift drive. And so the Minutemen have also donated the last couple years $500 in gift cards. And Tony came to me this year and he's like, Wendy, I think the need is getting bigger. And I said, yes, it is. And he's like, can you give me some data on this? How many families, how many children are on your list from last year to this year? And he's like, I'm going to go and see if they'll give an increase. So he calls me up, and I'm thinking, maybe $750 or something. And he calls me up, and he's like, "We're going to donate $2,000."
Oh my word!
And I was like, I almost fell off my chair. It was very generous. It's very nice to work with you both. It's very nice to work with the whole company, and I appreciate the partnership. And I want to say, I would like to ask the select board for you to accept the donation.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'll make a motion right now. I move to accept the Boxborough Minutemen Company donation in the amount of $2,000 and no cents.
Second.
I'll second that.
Yeah, any further discussion? Except sincere thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Vote.
All right,
You got
all
that?
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Thank you. Very exciting.
Wendy, could you explain just a little bit about what the 2,000,
Yes, I didn't do that.
That's fine.
Now I have to get this off. Yes, so the 2,000 this year, we're going to use some of it it's going into the Community Services gift account, which is newly created. And usually it's the gift cards. This time it's the cash that I will put into the fund. But we're going to use some of it for the holiday program. We're still accepting gift cards. They're coming in every single day. I got another 500 today for St. Vincent de Paul.
Oh.
I got another, I think, 300 from the Rotary Club of Acton. So whatever the balance is, we don't use of this check, we're going to use to help fund maybe rent or utilities for an extreme emergency since the ARPA money is going away.
So it's just not used for the holiday season, it's used, It's used all year long, and that's what you do, you budget it out for the whole year, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'll use the balance of it. It's meant for holiday, but Tony and I talked about it, that some of it I may use just because I won't have a lot of the funding this year. All the organizations have decreased in their funding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had a huge meeting the other day with Acton, myself, St. Vincent de Paul, a friend in need, and Acton Boxborough United Way.
Yeah.
And we all talked about like a strategy for this year when people come for assistance. And Laura Ducharme and I from Acton, are setting the tone with our clients, letting them know that it's, we can't just continue to pay. It's got to be an extreme emergency.
Great.
Since the funding's lower.
And if any family in town does need help, they should contact you directly?
Yes, they should definitely contact me, especially if you need help for the holidays. I have names coming in all the time, and just ongoing support and help.
Super, that'd be great, thanks.
When I arrived here in town a little over 2 years ago, the town, before I arrived here, had done something very wise, which was they designated some of the American Rescue Plan Act money
Oh, the ARPA,
towards
yeah.
the ARPA money towards human services, and that's what Wendy had been using. And I thought that was wonderful, but I also had a concern with it, and that is that I knew that 2 years later it was going to end. You weren't going to be able to use it anymore. So Wendy and I have talked about this, and Rajan, over the couple of years, how are we going to plan for this? And she's done a good job planning for this, and this couldn't be better timing to have some influx like this towards the people and the programs that she's administering and supporting, to be able to help people in town in need. So it's just wonderful timing, and great job, Wendy, and thank you so much to the Minutemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
I just want to say one more thing. The outpouring
Sure.
of this community is like amazing. This is my 3rd year running the holiday gift drive, and it just, gift cards and money just keep coming in. I think it's because everyone in this town realizes it stays in this town. So
Yeah.
I think that makes it really great. We also have donors coming that will, wish lists for a family, and they'll do it differently for that too. So I have people that come back year after year wanting to help the community.
Amazing. Well, thank you for all you guys do. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
And thanks for coming in tonight, too. It's nice to see your face. Oh, you never went home? Okay, well, thanks for staying. All right, good night, and thanks again. All righty. Next thing up, discussion and vote on the option to opt out of mail-in ballots. So we don't need to do anything. We do currently have vote by mail option.
Spring calendar?
Did you miss?
Oh, I skipped it. You know why? Because I'm just in denial of, okay. Let's jump back.
And Becky, I think, is here with us. She was supposed to be. I see an iPhone on there. Maybe that's her. I'm not sure.
I think I am an iPhone. Hi.
Ah, hey, how are you?
Hi, Becky.
Good.
All right, so
How
why
are
don't you lead the discussion? I didn't realize you were iPhone. Why don't
Sorry
you lead
about that.
the discussion on this one?
Yeah, I don't think this is pretty routine. I don't think we really have to have much discussion, but just to vote to accept the election calendar as it is for right now. And it's okay if it changes to, like I said in the email, I will add in a special town meeting in March as well, since I didn't have that on there. But this is just to sort of get the ball rolling with election-related stuff. And the, as usual, the whole thing with vote by mail, it's a little confusing, but it is necessary to call for a hearing in order to discuss opting out of vote by mail. If we want to do that, I'm assuming we don't, because we've sort of gone forward with vote by mail in the town election for a couple years now. So nothing needs to be done on that unless you want to. And then we're not going to have early voting again this year, because that requires 2 registrars to recommend it, which I don't believe they're going to do, given the really low turnout for early voting, especially for town elections. So we'll just continue as normal with absentee voting, which is essentially the same thing, and vote by mail.
Becky, how many people, like what percent of, well, whichever math is easier to tell us, either how many people chose to vote by mail or what percent of the people who voted by mail? I don't know what you'd be able to just pull out.
For the town election, I think it was in my letter and now I'm not looking at it, but I think it was.
39%, wasn't it?
My number recall is terrible, which is why I'm asking again. So you could just say significant.
It was, vote by mail is definitely always higher than early voting.
Yeah.
And I think it was about 10 to 20%, somewhere in that realm for, could have been as high as 30 for the town election. I just don't have it in front of me.
Oh, no
And
worries.
then for, it's really even higher for things like the presidential. I think it was closer to 50%.
So people really like the mail-in option.
People like mail-in, even
Yeah.
though it's not my favorite, but it's fine.
Editorial comment.
No comment necessary. Yes, it's fine. It's good to have options.
Any questions for Becky while she's on here?
Nope.
Anybody from the public? All right. I move to approve the spring 2025 election calendar as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, we unanimously approve the election calendar. Does anybody in the board wish to revisit the vote by mail? Because if not, we don't need to do anything.
Nope.
No.
All right, we're gonna leave that one alone. All right, next, we need to authorize the police chief and the town clerk to designate officers and constables to staff local elections. Becky, do you want to speak to that at all?
No, this is, again, pretty routine vote that we've done in the past several years.
Sure. Well, there's lots of us newbies here. Anybody have any questions about that?
Nope.
All righty then. I move to authorize the police chief and the town clerk to designate officers and constables to staff all 2025 elections.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Done. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, Becky.
She's gone.
All right. Next, the Hager Cell Tower lease renewal. Who wants to take that one on?
So John can present on that one.
Yes, so we currently have a tower, cell tower over by the Hager Well that the town owns as town property. And what we've currently been doing is we've had a 20-year lease with SPA Communications for the lease. I believe it was around from 2024. And as the lease is set up, it's a 5-year lease with the option to do 3 consecutive 5-year terms. And as a part of that, the cell tower leases from the town, they pay a fee to us, and also for any sub-leasers that they have, we get a co-location fee, which is a percentage of how much they charge for sub-leasers. So we've had that lease with SBA for the past 20 years, and I put it out to bid again because the contract runs up this year. And also as a part of this, I included the warrant article that we had to get town meeting approval. So this is more of a procedural process. As a part of this, I gave the board a copy of what they submitted for the bid. They actually were the only company to come in to put in for the bid. So it's a lot easier process because they currently lease the property, and what they provided has actually been pretty good revenue. Even
I was impressed by the numbers. I didn't realize it was so much.
yeah, and even the town auditor stated that we get a pretty good price from them for what.
Did you negotiate that?
No, I didn't negotiate it, but they, as a part of this, they had to provide numbers, and anybody who put a bid in on this process, it was a competitive selection process for this. So those were the numbers they provided, and on top of what they provided for each year, we do get a percentage on top of what they give for their yearly lease. So the numbers actually, I believe this year it was 60,000.
Yeah, it was a good chunk.
Yeah, I think the first year was 50,000.
Yep.
And to put that in context, the last year of the last contract was 40,000 a year. So we're already coming in 10,000 a year above that. Now, last year's revenues were 46,000. So above the base, there was another 6,000 in in the percentage for sublet. So Rajon did a great job in putting on this contract. And I normally get concerned when you only have one bidder, but the numbers were really good, so there was no need to put it out to bid again. And as Rajon mentioned, this is a known company that the town has worked with for 20 years, and it's been consistent revenues that we've been able to apply towards our services.
All right, I have a question that is probably a Wes Rajon question. So they listed the carriers that they typically lease their towers to. Is Verizon on that tower? And if so, why is there no cell service there? And the reason I'm asking Wes and Rajon is because I don't know if just because if Verizon is there, if you would actually get cell service or if they send it elsewhere. But help me out. Do you guys know? If you don't know, you can say you don't know. But I just want to lodge my, oh my God, we're a big black complaint.
I believe for this.
Because Verizon's on the list.
Tell us it's top secret. You can't talk about it.
It's top secret. You can't talk. It's part of the contract. It's sealed.
She read right through that. They don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, that's why I don't get it.
I could check with SBA to see if they sublease from them.
Okay. Because Verizon was on their list of.
It might be one of their subleasers for it. So.
But I just kind of figure if you could.
So that just says they're domestic site leasing.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that.
They own over 17,487 sites.
Right.
So that doesn't necessarily mean Verizon is there. But also cell signal is a function of geographic topography.
So the hill probably has something to do with it?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
That's why the fire, do you remember a few years ago when the fire department
it's not like
public,
it's X-ray, like it goes through the ground.
Yeah, the public safety was having issues with their radios getting through because of the topographical hills up there.
Adam, did you have anything to add?
I'll just add that the school committee recently signed a lease for a cell tower on the school property, and the numbers that you're getting for revenue are better than what we got from our company. And I'll also add that we only got one bidder on our RFP as well, so I think that's kind of how it works around here. So looks like a...
Maybe you should have told these guys.
I know. I wish they had answered our RFP.
You can't have him. He's doing work for us.
So this is an honest question from not a techie person. Is there any way to go back to the two companies leasing these towers to say, get Verizon into our town? Because it's just so brutal. No? We don't have a say? It's our
I'm
tower.
on AT&T, so it doesn't really matter to me.
What?
AT&T?
Yeah.
They're really no better. Megan's switch. They're really not that better.
AT&T is really good.
You have the same number, you just.
It all depends where you are. It really does. It really depends where you live in town because of the topographic.
Yeah.
Certain places, I've heard AT&T is better, certain places I've heard Verizon is better. certain
T-Mobile,
places I've heard
whatever.
T-Mobile's better.
All right.
So
Done whining.
I do
All
have one
right.
question, and I'm sure I'm missing it. We don't have the numbers of what's projected going forward, right? We only have the numbers from what I saw that what we had. Is that correct?
We do have the numbers. It should be in the package.
It was in
there
that
somewhere.
chart. There's a chart.
So there were two lists of numbers. The smaller print is the past numbers, right there.
Right, this one.
In your left hand.
These are the future.
Okay, so this is where it says previous, that's previous.
Yep. Now look in your left hand.
And this one is the new one.
Right, showing 50,000 for the first year.
So this is what it would be for.
Because my question is, why does it say 2012 there?
That's the name of the company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the name of the company. Oh, okay, never mind.
So, so this is what they provided as.
LLC the year they
incorporate.
So.
Well, who knew? I would have thought the same thing, Bob.
I'm good. That's what, I was just confused by 2012. That's what I saw there.
All right.
Okay,
Any
thank
other
you.
questions or comments?
Priya, don't be laughing at it.
No? All right.
good.
And thank you for the clarification, everybody. I move to execute a contract with SBA Communications Corporation for the initial term of 5 years with options to extend the terms of the lease for 3 additional renewal terms of 5 years each for the continued operations of its wireless communications facility on town property.
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm not going to talk anymore.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. We have another lease. All right, next, we need to close the 2026 annual town meeting warrant. Any discussion about that before we do so? Mike or Rajan?
So, we do have a meeting next Monday night, so it wouldn't set us back too far if you left the warrant open for another week. Having
Do we
said,
need to?
having said that,
Oh, okay.
we don't need to because
Well, I was gonna say, if you've
we
heard
have
any
a-
rumblings, let's just leave it open.
no, I haven't. And,
Okay.
you know, people have been made well aware that this is the deadline, and we have a laundry list of articles, so, I think we got plenty. I think you'd be safe.
We have plenty to do.
Plenty to do, and now it's gonna be a matter of chasing down this whole list to get the language that goes with these placeholders. So I think you're safe to close it this evening, and it's been open a little less than a month, but people have been very responsive. All the articles that we would expect to have gotten, we have.
We have, okay. Anything from the school? You need anything? No? Anybody else have hear any rumblings? Any reason we should keep it open for another week?
No, I just have one question, Mike, on the consent articles. A prudent investor?
Yes. So, and that's one of the ones that's gonna be.
That's for special town meeting.
That's on the special. And what that is, so our Bartholomew, who helps us with our investing of funds, they've come forward and shared with us some of the changes in the law that allow certain more prudent investing with municipal funds. So you have to be very conservative when you're investing.
Oh, that's for us to
taxpayer
become
funds.
a prudent investor.
Yes.
Got
So there was a change in the Mass General Law a number of years ago where it was, you couldn't invest certain things in the stock market. And they've allowed some things to be allowed. I don't have them in front of me, but I've been working with Tony Newton from the FinCom and the FinCom and our treasurer, Naomi and Bartholomew, to get the best advice on what to do. So they have moved certain things, some of the funds that had a lot of restriction on them have been allowed to a little less restrictive, so we can make a little more money on our investments. And so that's what we're going to do, is allow that to go forward. And it's just a vote at town meeting to allow the treasurer to do that.
Great, thanks for clarification.
Certainly.
Yep.
And that'll be a vote at special town meeting on March 18th.
All righty. All right then, any further discussion? If hearing none, I move to close the fiscal year 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Unanimous. STM warrant articles discussion. We kind of just had some of that, but anything else you'd like us to know until we get all the language? Do we have, no, we don't have language yet, right? I didn't miss an email, did I?
We haven't put the language
Okay,
out, but
thank
next
you.
week we'll be prepared to talk to you about that.
Okay.
But I can tell you what the articles are. And Kelly's done a nice job, as usual, of setting these up into consent packages. So the first one is late bills. We've got about $6,000 in late bills from a number of different areas. Some vendors just didn't get those invoices to us in time, but not a ridiculous amount, dollar amount like we had last year. There's the thing that you voted on several meetings ago about the CPAC accounting thing that we're going to straighten out by vote. OPEB, if you remember, we've been trying to fund OPEB at $300,000 a year, which we planned to do last year, but because it was such a tight budget year, we ended up cutting $100,000 out of it with the agreement that if possible, the town was going to come back at fall town meeting, when we thought it was going to be fall, and fund the other $100,000. I'm assuming from free cash, but I don't know that for certain. And then, so that's what that is, $100,000 would be the vote, and then we would still expect to see an article at annual town meeting for the regular $300,000 a year. So this is not to replace the one at annual.
So, Mike, on that supplement, is FinCom going to do a presentation to us, or are you going to make sure that how we're doing that extra 100,000?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that at one of the FinCom meetings, and we'll have that broken out of where are the funding sources for these different articles.
When it comes to us?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And then the next one is the one you mentioned, Bob, which is the prudent investor.
Yep.
Next, we're in need of 2 mowers. One is an 11-foot wide, the winged mower that does the big playing fields, and that has a longer lead time than the smaller mower, which we need, which is a 52-inch mower. Because of the long lead time for the larger mower, we want to put that on the special town meeting so it can get ordered in time for people to get out on the playing fields and for the summer programs and so forth. That's why you see that on the special, not the annual. But you will see another smaller mower at the annual town meeting. And then you'll remember that a local developer was here and presented to you as far as Taylor Farm Road. And that's the next article, is for the town to actually accept that and fund that. And the reason I say funding is because the intention was for this gentleman to donate the land to the town 2 years ago. And I think it was really, partly an error on not a particular person, but on the town's, that we should have accepted it then. We didn't. So the agreement is that we would pay this gentleman the amount of the taxes that he has paid since he would have donated to the town. So it's like a purchase, but it's the equivalent amount that he's paid in taxes, which I think everyone agrees that's the fair thing to do.
Do we want to talk about that? We did talk about it
talked
before.
about
We
it.
wanted to make him whole.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
We thought that was fair, but do we have a number? What's the?
I don't have that number in front of me. It's not a big number.
Yeah.
It's a fairly small, I think, was it 4 or 5 acre parcel of
Yeah,
land?
it wasn't.
I think it's 4. I think it's 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Naomi will have that exact number, and we'll have it for the special town meeting. There are three zoning articles. So there's one, it's a hazardous waste zoning article. There's a language cleanup, basically a housekeeping article for language cleanup all around the zoning bylaws. And there's one other, which is the accessory dwelling unit.
Didn't we pass one before?
There was, but I think there was something needed on it to, to make it pass muster with the state. So that'll be coming back. And then the last article I have on my list is one being put forward by the Fire Station Building Committee, and that's for design funding to put the fire station out to bid. So it would not include construction costs, or the actual construction, but just the design money, which would include putting the project out to bid, so that at a future town meeting, whenever that might be, it certainly wouldn't be this annual town meeting, but maybe half a year or a year later, most likely a year later, so that we could come back with the actual number of this is what it's cost, because it's been put out to bid, so that people know what they're voting on. At this special town meeting, there would be an estimated cost based on conceptual drawings and square footage, and it would give a range, but not an exact number because it hasn't been put out to bid yet. And that's the last of the articles for special town meeting.
So, Mike, Priya, if you could, and I'm probably not allowed to ask the question, will we, because of that funding, estimated funding, will that have to have a site chosen for that?
There will be a site chosen for that.
Okay.
So in January, the Fire Station Building Committee, of which Priya is a member, will have selected one of the two sites.
Okay.
And right now, the engineering is going on to be able, for the committee to be able to vote on which is the most viable of those two that seem viable up to this point.
Okay, that was my only question. I mean, I understand estimate, but it was like, between two sites, they could vary differently.
Different, yeah.
Right, so it'll be just the funding for one design.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Mike, do you anticipate any issues with the zoning articles? Are there any sort of hot buttons in those three, or are they cleaned up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But what we'll do is we get Alec in here and give you a little more, either I'll get a better idea from Alec on what exactly they entail, or better yet, we'll get Alec to zoom in at one of your next meetings so he can brief you on exactly what they are and if there are any concerns. I'm not aware that there are any concerns with them though.
Okay, great.
All righty, so no action required on that one, so we'll just move right on to annual license renewals.
Here we go.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna try to make this efficient. So we have multiple licenses, alcohol license, we've got common victualler license, public entertainment license, class 2 used vehicle dealer license, and class 1 vehicle dealer's license. So we'll just tick through. So all the renewal license, let's see. All renewal license applicants submitted all requirements, including current standings and all taxes and fees owed to the town, with the exception of the fire and safety inspection at the Boxborough Regency, which is scheduled for December 17th at 9:30 a.m. There's no concern here. It was a scheduling issue, and when I get to motions, it is reflected that way. So, as a time-saving measure, we're going to consider the 2025 annual renewal licenses using a consent agenda. So I'm going to go through each company, and board members will have the opportunity to hold a particular company if you want to have a further discussion about it. And then we'll accept a motion to approve each license type as presented, except for those on hold. So anybody on hold will go back and take up individually. So we'll start with the alcohol license. So the requirements for an alcohol license for retail, they need to provide workers' comp coverage affidavit, liquor liability insurance, ABCC completed form, that's alcohol beverage, what's ABCC?
Control Commission.
There we go. And that they have no outstanding balances of taxes or fees owed. And then if you're a restaurant looking for an alcohol license, you have the workers' comp coverage affidavit, liquor liability insurance, fire safety certification, TIPS certification. What's TIPS, T-I-P-S? Who remembers?
I don't.
You all can Google it. If you have a question, Google it. TIPS, capital T-I-P.
Like the bartender?
Yeah.
I think it is,
it's
yeah.
training, I think.
That's what it
Yeah.
is, but I don't know what it stands for. It's basically
Safety
they can.
training, probably.
It's kind of like the serve safe, it's for food, the tips is for alcohol serving, so that they do it legally and safely.
The ABCC completed form, and that no outstanding balances of taxes or fees are owed. So, owed. All right, so the alcohol license renewals are Craft Food Hall, 500 Beaverbrook Road, LLC, Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill, Inc., Kami Corp., and Boxborough Liquor Corp. Does anybody want to hold any of those? All right, then hearing none, again, everybody's applications are in and complete. I move to approve the 2025 renewal liquor license for CFH Craft Food Hall, 500 Beaverbrook Road, LLC, Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill, Inc., Kami Corp., and Boxborough Liquor Corp. for a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Now, this is the alcohol license renewal for the hotel. I move to approve the 2025 renewal liquor license for the Boxborough Regency LLC for a term ending December 31st, 2025, contingent upon a passing fire safety inspection.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. All right, next, common victualler license renewals. Again, CFH Craft Food Hall, 500 Beaverbrook Road, LLC. Bumblebee Pit Stop, LLC.
Is that the skating rink? Is that what that Bumblebee?
Yeah, it is.
Yep,
Yeah,
I was
okay.
gonna say, all the paperwork is in our packet, and I just went through it pretty quickly, but that's the rink?
That's at the rink.
Okay. Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill, Inc., and Harvard Sportsman's Club, Inc. Would anyone like to hold any of those? All right, seeing no holds. I move to approve the 2025 common victualler license for CFH, 500 Beaverbrook Road, LLC, Bumblebee Pit Stop, LLC, Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill, Inc., and Harvard Sportsman's Club, Inc., for terms ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. All right, and again, for the Boxborough Regency LLC, I move to approve the 2025 common victualler license for the Boxborough Regency LLC for a term ending January 1st, 2026. Oh, why is that one different?
That's the way it's supposed to be, January 1st, 2026.
Oh,
I'm not
shoot,
sure.
we've been saying December 31st for all the rest of them? Just
Yeah.
this one?
Yeah, just these last two are
Okay.
are January. The other ones are all correct, the December 2025.
Thank you. All right, so pretend that all right, I move to approve the 2025 common victualler license for the Boxborough Regency LLC for a term ending January 1st, 2026, contingent upon a passing fire safety inspection.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. That's everybody. All right, public entertainment license, Boxborough Regency LLC and CFH 500 Beaverbrook Road LLC. Does anyone want to hold those? No? All right. A question about this one. Shouldn't this one also be subject to a passing fire safety inspection for the hotel, or no? It's not broken out on this one.
Good question.
Let's break it out.
Actually, Kelly's on here.
Hi, here I am.
Hello.
So the question was about the public entertainment one.
Yep.
Yeah, should we break out the Regency?
So in order, yeah, so you could break it out, but in order to get the public entertainment on Sunday, you would have to have the common victual. So because they'll get the common victual license, it would automatically reflect
So that's
the public
precursor
entertainment.
to this. Is that what
I
you're
would
saying,
say
Julie?
it still needs to be pulled out though, because it's still subject to, I don't know, I'm ambivalent.
Sure, you could pull it out and do the same.
Yeah, Kristen, let's pull it out.
I'm more comfortable pulling it out.
Yep.
Thanks. All right, thank you. And thank you for being on call to answer that question, and so quickly. All right, I move to approve the 2025 annual public entertainment license for CFH 500 Beaverbrook Road LLC for a term ending January 1st, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Alrighty. I move to approve the 2025 annual public entertainment license for the Boxborough Regency LLC for a term ending January 1st, 2026, contingent upon a passing fire safety inspection.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, Class 2 used vehicle dealer license renewals. We have Alpha Trading Services, Inc., CBK Automotive Repair, Inc., and the Win Group, Inc. Anyone want to pull anything out? All right, I move to approve the 2025 renewal Class 2 vehicle dealers licenses for Alpha Trading Services, Inc., CBK Automotive Repair, Inc., and Win Group, Inc. for terms ending January 1st, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Last but not least, Class 1 vehicle dealer's license renewal. There's only one, Alpha Trading Services. I move to approve the 2026 Class 1 vehicle dealer's license for Alpha Trading Services, Inc. for a term ending January 1st, 2026.
Is it 2026 or 2025?
No, January 1st, 2026.
No. Approve the 2026 Class 1? Is that?
Oh, you're right, thank you. Thank you, Priya. All right, I'm just reading blindly. Yep. I move to approve the 2025 Class 1 vehicle dealer's license for Alpha Trading Services, Inc. for a term ending January 1st, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All righty. Excellent day. Thank you. That's a lot. You want us to sign all that when we're done?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just do a big. Okay, let's see. Next up, all right, old business discussion on Boxborough Leadership Forum. So I actually checked the website. We talked about this a year ago. We haven't actually done anything with it. But we did talk about, and I feel pretty strongly that we do need to re-engage the Boxborough Leadership Forum. Who's served in the most recent BLF? You did, Adam?
When was the last one?
Do you remember when the last one convened? And I know Maria's on Zoom. She was going to be part of it too.
About a year and a half
Right,
ago.
2 years ago. maybe.
Well, because I was going to
none
say,
of
if
us
it
were
was.
on the board.
It was
See, I wasn't,
within
that's why
Mike's
I'm saying.
first
Yes.
few months.
About a year and a half ago.
See, okay, if it was a year and a half, I wasn't, but I think if it's 2.5, I think I was on that then.
So we basically ended it when the three of us were all elected. We just didn't pick it up and keep going with it? Okay.
Yeah, I believe there was concern around how the group was structured and open meeting law concerns.
Okay. So for those of you that were on the board, so Wes, you would have been on, like, well, part of all of it, maybe not on the BLF as a representative, but involved in it?
Well, so in the past, like pretty much everyone from every committee went to it, so it was kind of just like we can go to each other's meetings, or we can just go to one meeting and talk about what we've talked about at all the collective other meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you feel that that worked?
Some people liked it, some people didn't.
That sounds
It's like-
normal.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, this meeting's like, what's that one where it's like, I just survived another meeting that could have been an email? Like the
Yeah.
ribbon, I don't know if you've seen that.
I have. So the reason I think it's important to bring it back is that we had a lot of fiscal calm for many years in Boxborough, and we're coming up on some pretty significant fiscal turbulence, we'll call it. And that's why I think it's important, because I hear what you're saying, but I think a well-designed meeting where people are able to kind of talk about where they are, what they need, where they think the town needs to go in a group setting that's not necessarily a town meeting is going to be a really useful exercise. Because the last time we had a BLF that I was on, it was during the 2005 overrides and all that, and it was really, really good to be able to have a place to talk openly. Now, granted, I'm sure we didn't observe any open meeting laws back then, but I'd like your thoughts on reconvening. I have had significant interest in putting it back together as we head into these turbulent times. Like, do you feel it's useful, Adam?
Yes.
I mean, I think part of it was also like, who's gonna run the meeting, who's gonna take the minutes, and
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Right, and I
When
think,
BLF was originally put together, there was a need for something different, and there was a way to, there wasn't as an easy way to access the meetings that the other groups were having. And a lot of this began to fall apart as we went to the pandemic and we had Zoom and everyone was meeting online and anyone could dial in on Zoom. And so there was this sense of sort of repetition.
Okay.
There was also the way BLF functions is different than what ALG does in Acton. And I'll tell you, at least from the school side, the school administration thinks that BLF and ALG are exactly the same, regardless of how many times I tell them it's not, or that we're not currently meeting. But the benefit on the ALG side is that there is a very clear charge for that group and membership. It's 2 members from each of the select board, finance committee, and school committee, with administrative staff there to support, really looking at the financial model for this year, closing whatever budget gaps may exist, and then also in the out years. And so it's very helpful, sort of like early in everyone's budget process, to understand where the constraints are, where the gaps may be in the budget, and how to close them. Without having that in place, it requires myself and Liz and members of the school committee and members of the finance committee to get together at all of their individual meetings. And so, like, I went back to the finance committee a couple of months ago, and asked them for some guidance on budget increase for Boxborough to get that voice into our budget planning. If we had a BLF, we could do that in a setting where Mike will be prepared with sort of what the needs and what the model looks like from the town side. Tony could be prepared from the finance committee side, you from the select board side, and me from the school committee side.
Okay.
But that's one function, which is really to look at a financial model and planning. I think BLF also had other functions and benefits where we had planning board members in there, we had library board members in there as well. And so I think it would be helpful to have a clear charge for the BLF.
Sure.
And a clear set of membership, because to Wes's point, as members of these committees are more or less engaged or more or less able to join, it can be a quorum, situation over and over again. Whereas if we had clear membership and representatives appointed there, then you wouldn't worry about who's going and whether or not you've got quorum concerns around that.
So let me address that a little bit, because I honestly don't remember if I was chair of the FinCom or chair of the select board when we created this, but it was on purpose a forum. And that's why it was open membership, because it was supposed to be, everybody posted, you had a quorum or you didn't, but it was a forum, so everybody had a voice. So it wasn't representative the way, and we also didn't want to give the BLF any power. So it was truly a place to communicate. It was not a place for decision-making. And so I'm looking for some guidance from everybody on what the forum should be now. Like, just because in 2005 we were adamant that we were not ALG, doesn't mean that's the way we're going to go now.
Right, well, the last time, my personal comments, the last time I was on it, it goes with what Adam was talking. The last time I went to a meeting, it was confusing about who was supposed to go.
Right.
It was like, I get the FinCom and I get the select board, but like, does the DPW director go? Does the library director go? And that's where the question came, well, can we meet if the DPW director can't attend or if the library director can't attend? And that's why I think if we clarify who's supposed to be going to this meeting, I think it would help, I really do.
All right. Yeah, because again, we were building a library, we were looking at expanding Blanchard, there were all of these things going on, which is why we brought everyone together.
Yeah.
So everyone had a voice at the table. All right, so if we're gonna pull this together, if anybody, it seems to me that we just have to start with a draft something, and then people can weigh in.
I think it would be helpful to know what the charge is of that forum.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, is we have to
Because
start with something.
Yeah, because I don't think having an open forum without a structure, it doesn't inform who should attend
Right.
and what the outcome should be from that group. It doesn't have to be financial, it can be whatever the boards and committees feel would be the best purpose for
Right.
bringing everyone together.
If I remember right, the FinCom did this because they were non-political. We're all elected and they're appointed. And I'm not trying to put work on Maria's plate, but if I remember, Jim Gorman and I pulled it all together back then because, it took all the politics out of it. Maria, what do you remember? Or does it matter? Maybe we don't have to remember. I mean, what are the thoughts about having the FinCom? Because let me just finish my thought, sorry. So what we did is we rotated. 3 months select board had to run it, 3 months
Right.
FinCom, 3 months school committee, that's who was responsible, but anybody could come, you just had to post your meeting, so nobody was excluded. But I believe FinCom started it. But anyway, maybe it doesn't matter what we did in the past. Maria, what are your thoughts?
So it was 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, it was a rotation. FinCom was always that period of time from January until a town meeting, because that's primarily what BLF's subject was. It was all about the modeling and where we were gonna land with the finances and the warrant and everything else. So we would always run that period, and then it was the school, and then it was a select board. That's what I remember for like who led the meetings.
Yeah.
I think that with respect to, I'm Bob, with all due respect, I don't remember issues about DPW directors. I do know that the library director came, but that was at the discretion of the library board of trustees. They wanted her there, and so she came. But I think that's up, to the board. That's it was always the chair of the library trustees and the library director that came for the library. And then when I was on the board, the select board, we invited the planning board to come. They were never part of the committee, but it became apparent that they should be because they're an elected board, and that's when the planning board came.
Okay.
It's not, BLF did not stop because you guys got elected and you dropped the ball or anything like that. BLF stopped because in the months before you got elected, the select board really felt strongly that it was just another meeting that we didn't need to have. And so even though I think the school, the library, and the FinCom felt strongly we should continue to do it, it just sort of ended. But it wasn't because you guys got elected.
Okay.
That was a decision that had been coming for the year before you guys got elected.
Okay. So I will tell you, going back to it, because of the town is going to have a lot of choices to make, and I had said this before to a few people, I want to make sure that all of us understand the models, understand the numbers, so that when we're talking to constituents, whether you're elected or appointed, you're giving factual information. Because one of my concerns is that as we're making these big decisions, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So at least the 25 core people that should know it will know it and have an opportunity to ask questions. Tonight's an example where Bob and I both didn't understand the MBTA overlay districts, where we thought we understood it and we didn't. And it was like, having good, open discussions where nobody's right, nobody's wrong, where we can share information. And I think dealing with the fire station, dealing with the school budget, we need a place that we can do it in a friendly, calm environment. And even if we all yell at each other there and then walk out and we're friends again, but really starting to, we need to be able to be proponents so that people can make decisions on town meeting floor.
I think one of the important things, though, is that BLF can't be seen as a way to usurp or
No.
take away any of the decision-making power of any of the other committees. And so I think it's really important that it's understood that when you're there, whether or not the whole board is there or a representative's there, you are there as a representative of your board or committee, and that you can't make a decision without the consensus from that other group. So it's not about making a decision in that meeting,
Right.
it's about coming together with the questions, understanding the problems,
Yep.
and taking that back to your own board or committee, discussing it, and then being able to represent it, having discussed it with your board or committee. We do that plenty of times on the ALG side at the school committee, where we give our ALG reps guidance about, how do we feel about the DPW building that's happening in Acton? Are we going to take a side on that? How are we going to help close the gaps in their budget model, because it's so budget focused there? But just understanding that if you're a member of the BLF, you are only able to represent your board or committee if you've spoken to them about that. And if you haven't, then we can't make decisions, and we shouldn't make decisions in that forum.
Well, I think my concern right there is making decisions. Again, we were very careful that the BLF did not make decisions. We shared information.
And that's what you're saying?
So that's what
I'm
you're saying.
Too, but
Okay.
I think that you have to then take that information back to your board or committee,
Right.
and get the consensus to bring it back to the group, because the group doesn't really serve a purpose unless you can actually do something actionable. Like,
Right.
again, sharing what I talked about at my school committee meeting with the BLF, you could watch the video, you could read, the Boxborough News's summary of that. There has to be something else, that there's a purpose for us getting together where we can discuss some of the challenges, but then have to take it back to our respective
Right.
boards and committees to then make some action happen.
Maria, your hand's up, or was?
Yeah, no, we never made decisions in BLF though. That was the whole point. Some of us would go, and a lot of times, there's a lot of members of the finance committee that go because, we're dealing with all the budgets and we want to understand all the budgets. So we pretty much always had a quorum at BLF, and so did the select board. But I don't think we ever made decisions at BLF because that wasn't the purpose of it.
I don't think we did either. I think
Okay.
there were assumptions from the public that you had this group that came
Yes.
together
Okay.
to make decisions.
All right.
And what I would say is it gets difficult when you do have a quorum then of your committee at that forum. So I think as you decide what the charge is of the forum, we also need to decide whether or not you want to have a quorum of any of the other boards or committees there. It's a difference between whether or not it's a forum, an open forum for everybody, or sort of a representative meeting of all of the town leaders.
Well, I can tell you, I feel strongly it should be an open forum because there's no substitute for being in a room with everyone. I would want it to be in person. I would not want it to be Zoom because, Maria, right now you're at a disadvantage because I have to be paying attention to see if your hand is up. Being on Zoom, and I'm not calling you out. I'm more saying that
I know.
if this is me, my feeling is moving forward, it should be open to anybody who wants to attend. We post a quorum. If we have one, we have one. If we don't, we don't. But no one's excluded from that opportunity because
My only challenge with that is I will never have a quorum here, so the school committee.
So you're
will
gonna feel
always be
outnumbered?
At a relative disadvantage, right? Because unless we have members from Acton here, we don't have a quorum of our committee.
But that would be your decision, your choice. Like, in other words, you can.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Kristen.
No, jump in.
Why do you need a quorum, Adam? We're not making decisions. If you have, 2 or 3 members of the Boxborough members there, frankly, as a member, and I'm not speaking for the finance committee tonight. I want to be clear, this was not on our agenda. And so I'm speaking from my experience, having been on BLF before. I don't want a quorum. I don't want active members there, but I do want the Boxborough members there so we can all have conversations. I'm not sure why you would feel like you need to have a quorum there if
We run the risk, if you have a quorum of both the finance committee and the select board there, that you can actually deliberate and make decisions on the spot.
We won't. That's going to be part of it. We will not.
Well, you
No,
will
but
not,
see,
but
that's
you
just it.
posted a meeting with an agenda with a quorum. So you technically have the ability.
We would have
Right,
the
right, but I think
ability.
that comes to the charter when we say in the charter, we will not make a decision at the BLF meetings.
Yeah, I just feel like it's it does put the school committee at a disadvantage, because we'll never have a quorum, we'll never be able to
But on the other
deliberate.
hand, what I like about it, Adam, is that if the agenda is out and we're talking about something that any school committee member feels strongly about, that they want to be there, they have the opportunity to do that. Whereas if it's representative, they have to go through you or somebody else. I like the idea that if you want to engage, you have that opportunity to come and engage.
But don't we have that opportunity to engage inside our own committees where we actually deliberate?
I would argue that your committee is so structured you don't. This one, yeah, because we yap. Because that's how I've structured it. Your committee is so structured, I would argue that you don't have the opportunity to just freeball it.
But we shouldn't be just freeballing it, because we should have items on
No,
there.
I guess what I mean, I guess what I mean, I guess what I mean is that at a forum, everybody would have more opportunity to share their thoughts, barring personality, okay? Barring strong personalities versus introverts, extroverts, all that good stuff. Everybody would have an opportunity. It's a forum. It's not a group. I hear what you're saying. I really do. But like if I went to your meeting, remember last week I joked and said, I bet if I went to your meeting, you wouldn't engage me the way I engage you.
No, definitely
And I
not,
believe
because
this
I'm very
board
structured and
welcomes
well
this engagement. And if you guys
Yeah.
don't welcome it, you should be telling me. But, anyway, but that's what I'm saying is I can't go to your meeting and engage.
In the same
But
way
I can
that we
engage with you
here.
at a forum.
Yeah. That's true. I guess, I would then turn to sort of Wes's comment, which is, if it's a forum where we're just going to discuss things again that we've discussed in our meetings already, I struggle with what is the purpose? What are we
The
gonna
purpose
get
is
done?
your ability to sell to the rest of the group. Like, I'm just gonna use the word sell. We have, like I said, we have all these big things coming. And so like in the BLF before, the library had the opportunity to come in and explain to everybody in a non-confrontational, open place, this is why we need the library. This is why we're doing it. This is what we need from support. And then you brought that back and had the discussion in your committee. But it's your opportunity to educate and advocate for what's going on. Or there were even times where people stepped back. And I'm using the library again because they pulled their big article because they looked at the whole picture and said, oh, there's no space for us this year. Like, there's opportunities for that give and take.
I hear you, but if I were to try to sell, what my needs were, I would come to your committee meeting and sell it there, and I would go to the finance committee and do the same, and that's.
But you wouldn't be able to have a discussion like this. Again, it's that opportunity to have an open discussion. And I think there's virtue for having the FinCom, the school committee, and the select board at a table monthly, because it also builds trust, which we don't have right now. I'm just saying we don't
totally
have any
agree.
trust.
Where I struggle, I'll go back to this, where I struggle is, even if I invited all of the members of the school committee to come, they're not gonna come.
But
So-
that's their prerogative. But
It-
we
but they
trust you,
also have
just so you know, you as a person, Adam Klein, I trust, but trusting the numbers, I need more to trust, to be able
And I
to.
think one of the things that Kristen talked about, I know Maria and I talked about this when we were on it, was we hear the same story, and I'm not picking on you. You might tell the FinCom, when you sell to the FinCom, you might say A, B, and C. When you sell it to the select board, you might say C, D, and D. When you're in a BLF, you're saying the same thing to both groups.
And we all hear it at the same time.
Exactly.
But I'm not saying it to the same groups, because you may or may not have a quorum.
Maria, you just have to jump in.
Yeah, please, Maria.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and you may or may not have a quorum there, and I for sure won't have a quorum there. So while I may be able to pitch whatever it is that the school is trying to talk about and get a very broad group of representation from the leaders in the town of Boxborough, you may not be able to get the same on the school committee side. And you may feel like, oh, well, we told the two active people who were there what the problem was or what our challenges are. And we'll do our best to do that to our 11, to communicate that back to the 11-member committee. But it's inherently imbalanced.
No, right. I mean, you're right. I mean, if that's the way it plays out, unfortunately, that's the way it's gonna play out.
Yeah.
So
Maria?
can I just, so last year, Adam, when we had all of these issues come up with the school budget, literally, the FinCom found out very late. I feel like, and you and I had talked about this, if we had BLF, these conversations might have, or at least, we might have heard
Totally.
earlier, hey, we might have a financial problem coming up.
Totally.
We may not be able to do this. And that's what BLF does. I think it gives you an opportunity to ask questions and to talk about things that may be coming up in the future. and you and I talked about, like last year, I think last year would have gone a little bit different if we still had BLF set up.
I don't disagree with any of that, and I don't disagree with the value of the BLF. The part that worries me is just the makeup of the group.
Okay.
And I just wonder, does it become more onerous if you have to post a quorum every time for that and have the agenda and call all those, it does, to your point, Kristen, it becomes a very structured meeting and not necessarily a forum. That I fully believe in the benefit of having the BLF and having the leaders all get together and be able to talk about it, hear all the same things at once. The part that I question or wonder about is whether or not
I hear you.
You make it just broadly open for I think outside of maybe some of the prescribed committees, it should be open to anybody. Anyone from, any of the other boards or committees in town, but there are some of the leadership committees in particular, school committee, finance committee, select board, where if you've got a quorum there every time, it feels imbalanced. A forum where we're talking about it, listening, and then having in the room library board and planning board and all of those other people as well. But again, I think this goes back to what is the charge and what is the goal,
Right.
and is there an annual structure to the calendar of those meetings
Right.
where we say, hey, this is budget time, it's going to be led by the finance committee, these are the topics that we cover. This is going to be sort of reporting time, and we're going to have planning board and library board report on that. This is going to be school time, and we're going to talk about it in select board. Then maybe you can change the makeup based on that.
Sure.
But I just worry that if it's very unstructured, both in content and membership, it will sort of lead down the same path we did before. But I think it's necessary, like, no matter what.
Okay.
I'll be there, and I think it's super important to have it.
So are you saying 2 people?
Okay, sorry.
2 people, I think, would.
Well, Kristen,
I was going to bounce off and say, I think content structure is really important. My concern in BLF is picking 2 people, whatever, then you only get 2 voices. We are all different people.
Right.
And so I'm worried that if you get 2 strong voices that are, you can't help but positioning yourself in a forum. I'm uncomfortable not saying it's open to everybody. Come or don't come. If it's another meeting that you don't see value in, don't come. But if you want to participate or you want to listen, then you should.
And to be clear, Adam, we're not ALG. And
Oh, I know.
and it's really, really important, going back to what Kristen said in 2005, nothing's changed 20 years later.
Nothing.
We're not ALG. I can't speak for the FinCom, but I don't think we would want to limit ourselves to 2 members. Because who's it going to be, the chair and the vice chair? Okay, but maybe I have historical knowledge that I can bring to a meeting that maybe the chair and the vice chair don't have, or maybe, maybe 4 of us want to come to a meeting. Maybe maybe the school is of real interest to all of us. I'm with Kristen. I think that this cannot be so structured, and I cannot say enough. We are not ALG, and we should not be structured like we are.
Well, like I said, content structure, yes, membership. Maybe each board has to decide what their membership is, whether they want to delegate or whether they want to allow everyone to come. Is that still uncomfortable? I hear what you're saying. Acton's never going to come.
Yeah,
They should.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be weighted unfairly towards the school committee side, just because we will never have the same voice. We'll never have the diversity of voices that is actually the school committee. We're always going to have to represent all the voices of our committee. Now, I'm not saying,
You should be
maybe you pick
representing
2
the
people and
Foxborough.
you pick 2 people, 2 different people depending on the topic, because you know what the topic is each time. But the point of a representative is that you're there representing your committee, and you have to balance what your opinion is and what the rest is, and you can't make a decision or speak in that room unless you've got a sense of what the rest of your committee is saying. That to me that's the difference between having everybody here and hearing everybody's voices and representing it and having a place to represent you need to be there to represent your board and committee. You're not there to represent your opinion. That deliberation should happen in your committee meetings.
No. I guess I need to clarify. What I mean is that I don't mean our individual opinions. I mean the way we think, the way we process. The 5 of us is all so different. And you guys will think of questions that I would never even dream of thinking of, and that's the value of it. So it's not that I think this board is really good about not pushing their own personal opinions and looking at the broader picture. So I'm only talking about the select board, that I value the way each of these people think and the questions they come up with and the thoughts that they have. And if only 2 of them are allowed to go, you've lost 3 other really.
But if it's a topic that needs all of that, it should be a presentation to the board. it should be a presentation to the finance committee.
No, I disagree, because again, it's a forum. It's a forum. There's going to be a problem on the table that we have to understand. It's.
And Adam,
yeah.
I think part of it is, so first of all, we had less members of Boxborough for the majority of the time that I was on school committee. We only had 3 members from Boxborough, and not all 3 members came every time. The majority of the time they did come, and we had no less of a voice, and perhaps it was because of the 3 members. We were pretty
strong,
loud and there, and took our positions. But we also represented, in those meetings, we represented the interest of our board, but we also listened to the interest of Boxborough, and it was a Boxborough-based meeting. And I can't say I ever went to a BLF and thought, oh, I wish I had my Acton quorum here to help me on this. My job was to go to BLF and bring the message back to the board. And so I think, I never felt that I only had 3 voices on BLF versus the select board, who would show up most of the time 4 or 5 members. And I think it's, I never remember that being an issue. And I guess I'm curious as if you felt that was an issue, when we had BLF and you were on it, and you were the chair then, I believe.
I never felt like there was an imbalance at the BLF, but I worry we're doomed to sort of repeat ourselves again if we don't change something or put some clarity of purpose that maybe is different than before.
So here's the cool thing. We have this team now. And basically, I feel that the select board would be leaning on you to make sure that the structure of the committee, the agenda, whichever group was running it, whether it's FinCom.
You're turning to the wrong person, because I agree with him. But if.
Well, screw you.
But can I
you
get?
don't get to say that, Acton School Committee, deep. Acton Boxborough School Committee.
But could I offer some just
thoughts?
Some thoughts. So when I first arrived here, I went to a handful of the BLF meetings, and I saw some value in them, but I also struggled with the structure, and I thought that it needed more structure and more purpose, a charter, so to speak. And I think you can do that, but also have a forum where you have a free flow of thoughts and ideas and sharing. So I do share a little bit of what Adam is. I struggled with the structure. I was asked to go, and I went. But at one point, there were a number of other issues. It was like Maria said, it didn't happen because of the election. I think there had been, there may be an imbalance. Maybe the select board was pulling away from it a little bit, but also there had been some open meeting violations filed against BLF and against the boards that were represented on BLF. And so I offered a solution that I thought at the time would work, which was let me convene. Let's do it by a different name. Let me convene it, because I can convene a meeting where it doesn't have to be an agendaed, minuted meeting, which we have since found is not the case.
I was like, didn't we get socked for that
Well,
one?
we did. We did. We got a little more clarity that even, calling together a group without an agenda, without minutes, without votes, you can still get slapped with an open meeting violation. So I think it's a very different world, but I think, so there would have to be an agenda, there would have to be minutes, in my opinion, I think there would have to be a charter and some structure. But 2 other concerns I had when I first started going was that, as was mentioned, the leadership of the group was handed, off from, depending on the time of the year, and whoever had the leadership at that quarter would do the agenda and the minutes.
And we didn't meet in the summer.
And I think the hope was that some of that administrative work would come on the town administration. And we're at a time right now where I would struggle with that, because I'm currently doing, in general, about 3 night meetings a week. So, if this is a monthly or even a quarterly thing, that's one more thing. And Kelly, who was the one that was turned to do agendas and minutes for these, is also staffing both the select board and the fire station building committee. So I think there would be a capacity issue. So, but I mean, if the administering of that was happen within the boards, that would be fine. But I don't know that I have the capacity to take that on at this point.
Well, that's fair.
And I
Then it's going to fall to the chair of each
yeah, and I
committee.
also know that Kelly does not have the capacity, because I see what she's doing, handling two boards that are two very, very active boards, so I don't see that. And, while I haven't mentioned John, he's doing our procurement, our HR, our, negotiating contracts, so I don't believe he has the capacity either. So I just want to be upfront about that, but I think there's some value to a charter and more structure versus less.
Maria, do you want to work on a charter and some structure with me? Well, someone has to do it.
An exuberant yes.
What a great answer.
Well, I don't want these two. I don't want these two. These two aren't in my camp.
Sure, Kristen, we can do that. I've got some stuff going on, but we will figure out a schedule and, when are we gonna try to get this charter back to this group, so I have an understanding?
First of the year.
Sure.
Because
Okay.
I'd like to have something in place for next time. It would be great to have an opportunity to have it before, have it in place before the March special town meeting. Because that's a big deal where everyone needs to understand.
Well, and the other thing is, don't forget, BLF was always the place where we did the pre-town meeting.
Yeah,
And
where we
the moderator-
practiced, right? That's where we did our
Yes.
practice.
Yeah, and the moderator came before town meeting, and then it was also the debrief after town meeting.
Yeah.
Which
That was
really
almost more valuable.
There was.
Yeah, very valuable for both. And that's actually when I was on the school committee and the finance committee and the select board, and Kristen, I don't know if you were on either one at the time, we're battling it out for everything at town meeting. That's when we got back together at BLF and said, okay, well, that didn't work out so well for anybody. So there was conversations around how can we do this better.
It
Yes,
used to be
I mean,
so adversarial. Oh my gosh, the battles on town meeting floor. Yeah.
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 So,
Who can make the other person look as stupid as possible? Not proud of that. Not proud of that.
I'm happy to work with you to try to come up with a
Well,
charter.
just to have something, and then everybody can just be.
So,
We need something to start with.
yeah, so Kristen and Maria, I guess I'll ask the question. Is the idea, is the intent to have a BLF meeting as soon as possible for the budget session, the budget season?
Yeah. Well, or for, maybe not budget, I mean, ideally, next year, yes. Is that possible for this year? I don't know.
That's my question. Right.
Next year, yes. It
Yeah,
might
right,
be baby
right, right.
steps that this year BLF is to iron out, again, the bigger Boxborough issues that are hanging over all of our heads. And next year, when it's in place.
Right, because I don't see how, I'm just gonna say, I don't see how it's possible for this
No.
budget season.
I don't think it is. I
Well,
think it's
it's-
gonna be more for the big stuff. I think it's gonna be more for special and annual.
Ad hoc meetings, though. I mean, we don't have to have a BLF. We could just have a couple ad hoc meetings of the town leadership in preparation for this year's budget.
Well, I just don't wanna get in open meeting, but open
Well,
meeting.
I mean, it still is an agenda and minuted and all of that, but I think you could work in parallel, right? I think there is value in this year, particularly with the things that are coming in front of the
Right.
town, for all of us to get together and sing from the same hymn sheet at special town meeting and annual town meeting. Do we need to have a charter and a structure for the BLF to be able to do that? I don't think so. I think we've got a pretty clear, agenda item there.
Yeah.
And we can just discuss that and make sure we're all talking about those needs in the same way.
I agree, I agree with you, I just question the whole BLF structure for our budget season, is what I'm saying.
So three of the brilliant minds sitting here haven't said anything yet. Thoughts? We can just.
Are you looking at me?
Yes. I said the three.
So, okay, so I haven't been through this.
Three of the brilliant
I'm
minds.
listening to what everybody's saying and their experiences. I don't,
And taking into
because I haven't gone through it, I really didn't say, well, then we should do this, or we should do that. So, I mean, I agree that there's some value in there somehow, but it needs to get worked out. So in terms of the details.
I mean, so to that point, the BLF will only be as good as the preparation and the participation. The BLF is only gonna be as good as we make it, and as valuable as we make it. but just to that point, because I think it sounds like it had its ups and downs. It sounds like some years it was really valuable, and other years it was just one more friggin' meeting we all had to go to. So.
I actually, Kristen, you know what, up until the last 2 years, I actually don't think that was the attitude of most of the members of BLF. I think up until the last 2 years of BLF, before it ended, I think the attitude was, this is an important meeting for us to go to. We did definitely spread them out after the town meeting, right? We would spread it out a little bit because we didn't need to have a meeting every month. But I don't ever remember the members showing up there and thinking, good God, I have one more meeting to attend. And we all have a lot of meetings to attend. We're all in leadership. There's a lot going on, but nobody had that attitude. It was only in the year before it ended that attitude came to the table. So I just want to make sure, I don't want to revise history here. I want history to be reflective of what it was. There were people who did not think it was valuable, and it was one more freaking meeting they had to attend, and they made no secret of it, and that's how we ended up with it ending.
Maria, a quick question, and if you can, I remember you and I sitting there, and we had the fire chief show up for one. We had the police chief show up. Was that Capitol Saturday, or was that?
Yeah,
the
that was
BLF?
Capitol Saturday. Or if there was something in particular, I don't ever remember the police chief and the fire chief showing up. Occasionally, we would have other committees. Like if there was a big article coming up for a committee, they would show up. The committee would come and present to BLF, particularly at that pre-town meeting. But I don't ever remember department heads other than the library director coming to our meetings.
Yes.
To BLF.
Yes. So it was probably Capitol Saturday then.
It's probably, it's definitely Capitol Saturday. They were definitely there.
So that must be what I'm thinking, because I remember the old police chief presenting what was going to be in the budget.
Right. And you know what, Bob? The people in the room for Capitol Saturday are generally the same people in the room for a BLF meeting. So if you're going by memory and thinking about who was in the room, you're going to have a lot of the same people. And possibly even the planning board would be there then.
Yeah, right.
So for Capitol Saturday. So I think that's what you're thinking, because like I said, only department head that ever came to BLF was the library department head.
Okay, thank you. Yep, that's what
So I want to make sure everyone gets to share their thoughts. Priya and Wes, just, thoughts?
Well, I think there's value to it, but I don't want to, I wonder if there's a little bit more flexibility in terms of like having the meetings and like not like every month that we should have. Maybe there is value to that one, every month having it, but like I don't know if there's flexibility in terms of deciding like every month or every other month, and then having a clear structure and making the meeting efficient is going to be very key, because everybody has like so many meetings to attend. We don't want people to kind of tune out or like make it too long and too tedious. So I think having a clear structure and having a clear agenda and going about it will be helpful for how many ever of us are attending, right? Because I'm just thinking for myself, right? I'm here for like the select board and then the fire station. And then we also have, for the fire station, we have like public forums and input. So there's a lot of time involved.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanting to make sure that like.
Absolutely.
Your time's well spent.
Yeah.
And I think going back to it, it's not a mandatory participation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wes, what are you thinking? Because you've got recent history too.
I mean, you guys can spend your time however you want. Like, it's another meeting, and so, like, sure, there's value in it. It just depends how you run it.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, you can have a meeting for the sake of having a meeting because we're setting up these monthly meetings. And you see that a lot, and also in corporate America, where people just set meetings, and then it's like, wait, why are we having this meeting? No, it's because it's scheduled. That's just my concern, because that was one of the other contributing factors. Was we had people were then saying, well, we should have staff do it, like staff take the minutes and all that stuff, and it was a lot of work to take the minutes and that kind of stuff, because the agenda was mostly like, okay, we want to hear about this, this, and this topic, tell us about it. And it's like, well, we can also just I think it was also floated to try just like asking the committees like what they were doing and then send like a general update, but people wanted to have discussion, so there was just, I don't know.
Wes, do you think and I'm just gonna throw it out, do you think it was, if we do it for half a year, like for the spring budget stay, and then we don't do it in the fall, or it's the summer and fall?
Well, I mean, now we have the fall town meetings too, so I don't really.
Yeah, so it'd be, okay. Because I hear your point. I think, there's are certain subjects that you want to talk about during certain times of the year. And then it's like, okay, there's no hot subject, why are you meeting if you don't have to meet?
Yeah.
But we did that. When we were scheduling our meetings, we met monthly from probably January through May, and then we had our after-town meeting. We didn't meet during the summer, and then in the fall, we were like probably every 6 to 7 weeks. It wasn't an every month meeting.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah, that's fine. And that's kind of what I'm thinking too, exactly, yeah, okay.
All right, so anybody else have anything else they want to add to this?
If you write up something, you kind of create the straw man, and we can and we'll have something to go over rather than a free fall.
Kristen, I'm going to have to bring this to the FinCom because the FinCom chair, I assume, is not still sitting in the room.
He is not, nope.
Okay.
Well, that's actually my next question, Maria, is, does the select board just have the authority to put it together and say, all right, this is what we're doing and you're invited if you'd like to participate?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I'm asking, that's what I'm asking.
So
Because it kept getting pushed back to us to say, you gotta start the BLF up again. Well, okay.
I certainly think you have the select board can say that. It'd probably be better to have buy-in from all the different committees.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that I can have Tony put it on the agenda for Tuesday night, and I can just talk to it, since I
That'd be
was
great.
here.
All right.
And then, like I said, I don't know that you'll get a ton of pushback from FinCom. It just may be that, they want some structure too. I don't know. We haven't talked about it.
Well, this, just so you guys know what I wrote down, that it needs to be, it's gotta be Boxborough specific, we need a charter, we need structure with agenda, a clear and purpose, and we need to manage efficiency, that preparation and participation are gonna be key. Probably, the better the preparation, the more likely people are gonna wanna participate. So I would argue that the first couple of meetings are gonna set the stage for whether it's gonna work or whether it's not.
I agree.
People are gonna see the value, or they're gonna say this is a waste of my time.
Right.
So, all right.
Kristen, you should reach out to the library board as well, because
Yep.
they're also, maybe reach out to Mary Brolin.
Okay.
And sort of get, at least, again, this is one of these things where you want to get everyone on board as we're starting to do the charter or the charge, so that people understand and have input.
Yep, 100%. All right, sounds good.
Maria, I like your tree.
Thanks. There it is.
Look at that.
Oh, it's huge.
I like that it's colored lights too.
Thanks. My husband loves the big tree in this room every year. I keep saying, let's just go get a little 7-footer, and I lose the discussion. Every year I lose the battle.
You lose the battle? Well, it looks good.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion about the BLF? I think we beat it to death. Nice job, everybody. All right, last but not least, no, actually, that's not true at all. Meeting minutes, did everyone have a chance to look at the November 25th meeting minutes, and are there any edits or changes?
I have no changes to recommend.
I looked at them.
All right, I move to approve the November 25th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Fabulous.
Abstain.
Oh, you abstain. Priya abstains. Makes sense. All righty. Last but not least, Select Board and Town Administrator Office reports and updates. So as usual, we'll start at this end and work our way down.
Yeah, so only openings we have right now is just the administrative assistant for Treasurer Collector's Office. Extended an offer, the candidate declined, so.
Oh.
Is that the second one, or is that the first? We had, last time you said somebody declined.
Yeah, it's just
It's the same person? Oh, okay.
Oh, good. I thought it was the second one.
Right, exactly. Really? We got two people?
Nobody liked us.
And we currently have one opening for the fire department, which Chief is looking to fill pretty soon. We did issue bids for the chlorine system replacement for Hager Well. Actually, today around 2 p.m. we had a site walk for it with contractors who were interested in bidding the project.
Did many people attend?
I actually wasn't in
Oh,
attendance, but
gotcha.
You're still negotiating.
Oh.
But the DPW director was there, and he met with the engineering firm who put our scope of work together along with prospective bidders, and bids are due next Wednesday.
What's this for?
The replacing the
chlorination. Okay.
Chlorination.
Yeah,
There you
okay.
go.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
and that's all I have.
All right.
I just have one thing, and that's that the previously a working group was talked about for the transfer station. So now the PREA is back. We're going to get that together.
Priya, do you have enough in your plate? I heard you loud and clear. Do you need somebody else to do the transfer station?
No, we already started the discussion, so I'll just finish that one.
It's
That's okay.
potentially going to be a lot.
What do you mean?
Oh, find a replacement for me too then.
Oh, all right. Okay, all right. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
We gotta
It's
talk
like-
about your salesmanship. You can't scare people.
I am being sensitive to her saying, I've already got 5 meetings a month and I can't handle any more because I have a life and I want to eat food sometimes.
No, actually, we've had prior to PREA going away, we had a lot of discussions in previous meetings on this.
Okay.
So we just need to get back together with Kate Davies and Ed Kukla, and anybody else interested. But we'll bring that back to a future meeting here but we need to have a little bit of pre-discussion first.
Okay.
And related to that, one of the articles that was put on to the annual town meeting was sustainability put on, they didn't put on an amount, but funding for a swap shed for the DPW. Now, we haven't talked about where that would go or how or whatever, but they wanted to get something in because they knew this was closing tonight. So that'll be part of the discussion is, solid waste recycling, swap shed.
I love a swap shed.
Fees, all those things.
Yeah.
So, I think that the funding for a shed is far less concerning to me than staffing of a shed. And
Two different things.
so.
We can talk about it later because I have so many thoughts. I mean, I send so much just to the curb. People are picking it up before we even put it down. Like, do we need a shed? But we can talk about that later. Because I mean, yes, at the end of the day, everything goes in the dumpster, which means like if I have stuff to donate, I don't send it if we're going to the transfer station at 3. I'll save it till the next week. But
We can talk.
yeah. All right. We'll figure that out later. Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right. That's easy. Okay. So I want to riff a little bit. I was going to bring this up anyway. So as you all know, or maybe you didn't, I went away. I went down to Charleston this weekend, and I was there for their Christmas parade. And I started thinking about, and it was just amazing. It was this amazing community parade. And I started thinking about that this is a really big year for Boxborough. And I started thinking about the parades that we used to have at Pfeiffer's Day. And I didn't bring it up in the minute when we were here because it wasn't on the agenda, but I wanted you all to think about it. Forgive me for a minute, but when I was a kid, the Pfeiffer's Day Parade was huge. And we would all bring our bikes to Blanchard before the parade, and the Recreation Commission, because remember, my mom did all that. My mom and her friends would have all the, we would go there and decorate our bikes. And we all rode our bikes in the parade, and our parents cheered, and, all the different farmers had things, all the different businesses had floats. It was a really, really big deal and huge participation, because you were either in the parade or you had people watching you. And being down in Charleston and seeing a Christmas parade, that's what it was. You guys, there was 30 seconds of people with dachshunds. Literally, all their little dachshunds were in the parade. And there were all these just rando groups that were there celebrating. And I thought, why can't we do that in Boxborough? And, part of my whole thing about patriotism, I don't care who you voted for, but, loving Boxborough and loving our flag, and it's a really big year for the United States and for us. Would the select board consider working with Public Celebrations, Minuteman, anybody who wants to have a really big parade this year at Pfeiffer's Day, which in turn would drive more people to Pfeiffer's Day, which would in turn, I just think that if we got really involved and supported this and really got people engaged, it could be something really special. So that's what I wanted to bring back to you guys for thoughts, and we can put it on the agenda in the future. 30 seconds of dachshunds, you guys. I have a video.
Yeah, no, I think that would be funny, especially if they got little,
they all had
little
outfits.
hats on.
They had
little
outfits, and there was a
coats or
trailer in
something.
case they got tired.
Yeah.
But No, but I just started thinking about, like, why couldn't you do that? Like, go to every group and say, hey. And again, I just remember as a kid for probably 5 or 6 years, you know, decorating your bike. It was so fun.
We gotta talk to Kristen.
About what? About getting a life? Okay. All right. Well, see, these are the things that allow me to do the rest of the things. At any rate, so I just wanted to throw that out there, especially because it's such a big deal. So I would like to put that on a future agenda, give you all a chance to think about it. It's not a high-cost thing.
No, it's not, no.
But it'd be a really great way to encourage more people to come out and do things.
Well, I think it's, the volunteerism and the participation are the two things.
Yeah. That's all I had.
Okay, so a few quick thoughts, Steve. I don't know if Mike is aware of this, but the Water Resources Committee subgroup will be meeting with Weston and Sampson tomorrow to discuss the, amending the contract.
Yeah, Les made Rajan and I aware, so that's
Okay,
great.
all right, great. And I'm still working on Steel Farm, still working on the detail of the window designs and making sure that's accurate before.
How many millions?
These are mahogany windows, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, why is it? So anyway, we're going back and forth with the contractor to make sure everything is right before we pull the trigger. COA has for those of us who are old enough to attend, the magical singers are going to be there, the high school kids.
They're amazing.
They are
the magical
amazing.
singers
They're
are awesome. Yeah.
They're fabulous. So that's coming up. I don't think is it this week or next week?
What?
Oh no, it's Wednesday.
For the-
yeah.
yeah.
The Madrigals, yeah.
Yeah, this week.
Wednesday at 11.
That's it for me, right, for now.
That's a lot. Bob, what's up with you?
There's a personnel board meeting coming up tomorrow night that I'll be attending with Rajan, closing up some things, as I mentioned in the past, that Lee will be leaving the chair, and he's going to be greatly missed, and we're hoping that Alan will accept and move forward into the chair role on the personnel board. I attended a well-being committee meeting the other day, and that went very well as far as talking about the award that was going to be given, and then some other grant money that they are pursuing with the Acton Boxborough United Way people. So a lot of good stuff happening there. And then the other thing, I think Barbara is still on. I'm sure Barbara Bird has seen, and I just want to let the town know, because I know a lot of people were interested, in the Brook Village, the Elliott House, the one that had the massive fire a few years ago. There is construction crews on that property right now as we speak. They've been there all week. They've met all the, I understand everybody's has been putting smiling faces as far as the insurance company, as far as the property owners, and moving forward with the construction company. They have cleared out the cellar. They are in the process of getting the permits and getting everything else in place to rebuild the Elliott House. So I'm sure a lot of people are happy to hear that's moving forward. So.
Excellent. Great news. Thank you. Priya, what's up with you?
So I have a few things. The tree lighting ceremony was really awesome, and I think we need to thank, was it the Boxborough Regency? They were the ones who I think offered the cookies and the hot chocolate. So
I think hot chocolate came from Dunkin' Donuts, right?
was it Dunkin' Donuts? Okay, all right.
A lot of hot chocolate.
Thanks to both
40 gallons. Did you guys run out?
No.
No. Fire station got hot chocolate for the rest of the weekend.
Okay.
Oh, good. Because they ran out of cookies
They got enough.
pretty quickly, and there were kids. There were like a couple of them. They were like, "Oh, we didn't get the cookies," and I'm like, "Oh."
All right, so this has to go in the bus book next year. 20 gallons of hot chocolate, 400 cookies. All right. Okay. Yep.
Right. Swap shed. Bob, were you saying in the past? Do I remember that like there was somebody that was willing to build us?
I need to reach out to that person to make sure.
But, okay, all right. So just wanted to make sure about that, because somebody reached out to me, asked like, did you say that like you guys were going to be able to build it? I'm like, I thought we discussed that, and that was the case. So I'll follow up with them.
I just need to reach out.
Just a nice Reed Sperry.
The fire station building committee, we did meet. I don't know, probably Mike told you guys that we have come down to like 2 sites currently.
Yep.
It's the 502 and the 72 Store Road. Last week we had extensive discussion about the criteria for phase 2. what are the different criterias, what their definitions should be, and what the weightage for each one of those should be. So I think it was a very good discussion, and a lot was, we really
Nailed
came
down.
down to like really good ideas about like how to weigh the things and how to start scoring and all that. And Mike, they were also going to do some of the geo testing, right? Like the
Yes, on Friday, we had two engineering firms over at 502.
Yeah.
One that was gonna mark out where the test pits and borings were gonna be, both at 502 and 72. And then another firm was out with a traffic engineer to start that survey on both sites as well. So all that engineering, which is, you know, the expensive part of this, has been held off from phase 1 to phase 2. Now that it's down to 2 sites, it's time to start getting serious about, you know, making sure that these 2 sites are both viable.
Do you have any idea how much of the 500,000 has been spent?
like is it?
I-
I don't
if
know
you
the
don't- if you
current.
don't,
I don't remember
it's
the
okay if
current
you
because
don't.
I wasn't there like for the recent invoice. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Mike?
that'll be at the next meeting.
Oh, no worries. It's
Yeah.
more a curiosity than.
Yeah,
But we will be running out.
Well, that was my concern is,
Yeah,
are we gonna
like,
make it
so-
through phase 2 of the engineering?
We will go through that, but
Okay.
like we'll be pretty close.
So all but close to $100,000 are committed, but not spent.
Gotcha.
But some of the geotech work, as well as the design of the swing station, which will be the temporary fire station site, if 502 is the selected site, that design work is not included in our current committed architecture or OPM work, so that'll dip into that other 100,000. So we think we're gonna use most of it. There may be a little bit left over. It depends how much, you know, geotech and the traffic study costs, and then again, how much the design work for that swing station.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I was talking during tree lighting, I was looking at, they had one of the pits, which is almost like 8 feet.
At the tree
down.
lighting, there was an 8-foot deep pit?
Was it
No,
8
no.
feet or how much was it? How
See,
much
this
was
is
it?
how stories get out there.
No, that's what like a one.
They actually held off on drilling holes and digging pits until after the tree lighting, fortunately.
That was very smart.
Yes, but there are going to be some big ones. There's a couple just bores, but then there's a big pit.
Yeah. No,
that's
that
sort
the
of-
bores is what I was talking about. I think that one of them was pretty close to the menorah, right?
Yes.
As long as you don't
Yes.
create a sinkhole.
No, it's not, no, but
No,
I'm
they're all-
like,
they're
I
all
didn't
marked out.
realize
They're
all
that
marked out.
how
Okay.
deep they.
You're scared
They're
me.
all
Yeah,
marked
yeah.
out. Yeah, we lost 40 people, so.
We lost 40 people. Not funny,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Should open up
But
some housing.
if 40 of the right people, that would be okay. All right, so what else is
Don't
going on?
That was it.
I didn't mean it, Bob. Wes, what do you got?
I have a motion to adjourn.
You know, we can always depend on you for that. All right.
I'm going to second that.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? It's only 9:35, you guys. It's not that late. And we did spend